streaming Overwatch or your PC picture?
I'm streaming Overwatch right now. The PC
Okay,
picture seemed to
stream
only
your
be...
display now that we went into normal
Okay, everyone.
window.
Technical difficulties. We'll get this done in a sec.
No, you're
Here,
fine.
screen 1. That's what we needed. Okay.
There we go. Now
So
draw.
yeah, you should be able to see just fine if I pull this down.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep.
You can see it.
Good. Okay. So technical difficulties aside, I'm a boomer, yada yada. Okay, so let me go back to borderless windowed here. There we go.
Oh,
Just
there
to
we go.
double check again. You can
Yep, we
still
can see it.
see. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, we'll just clear this right here. All right, so I have a bunch of notes. Let's see. So, hey everyone, I'm the former captain now of Renaissance, and so this is our in-house scrim from a couple days ago, and RSauce said something to me that made me that occurred to me that because it's an in-house scrim, it might not have been serious. Even so, even if someone or even if you guys weren't taking it seriously, I'm still just going to treat it as if at all times you were trying your best and you were thinking of how to win. So anyway, before I just jump in anything right now, I just wanted to talk about in general what I think the team could use to just grow immediately. And that starts with teamwork, just grouping up. You guys do it a lot towards the later part of the scrim, but at the beginning of the scrim, there's a lot of moments where people are wandering off or doing their own thing. And just keep in mind that a lot of the more complex stuff in Overwatch starts once the grouping up happens, because it enables it prevents things like getting randomly slept or naded or pinned or shattered or anything like that from happening, so that you can make these other plays. So that being said, the second thing is pathing. There's going to be, especially on Ilios and on Temple of Anubis, there's going to be some real struggles for you guys to make it to a place where you can actually play the game. Instead, you're just going to get spammed out and held in chokes. This may or may not just be because you weren't running a Lucio. So I just want you to keep that in your mind. Okay, if we're not going to be running Lucio, you guys only ran a Lucio on the last map. Running Lucio might just be one of the easiest and fastest way for the team to improve. If you're going to be running Brawl Comp all the time, Lucio is the best thing to help out your Ryan and your Zarya, or your Ryan and your D.Va. So, lastly, ult combos and ult tracking. These kind of come hand in hand in the sense that your ults will get more value if you work them together than they can individually. Grav Dragon obviously is the ult combo most people think of, but it could be Grav Tire, it could be a Grav into a pin, or a turnaround shatter. These are plays that help prop up your teammates, enable them to farm their ults faster, and also more importantly prevents issues people not being allowed to play the game. 6-0, I'm not sure if 6-0 is here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel really bad for you because on Hollywood, you basically didn't get to play the game for a solid minute. And that's because someone didn't use their ult. I mean, it could have turned out differently if someone didn't use their ult, but basically, you got staggered, you got dove, you got killed, then you got headshot again. And so basically, you didn't get to play for most of third point. So, again, these are making decisive ult combos and ult tracking to make sure your combos are going to be worthwhile in the fight can help set up your teammates in invisible ways like that. Anyway, so let's get started with Ilios. Let me just say that I think you guys did a really great job with the double shield comp on well. Honestly, this was an interesting team fight because the tanks played well enough that it came down to how the DPS played. There's a couple things I want to talk about in particular. Let me see. It was okay, yeah, Dark Griffin on Tracer. There's some things that there's I only have feedback and high hopes for you because I think you did a good job. But aside from that, yeah. Okay, so it's just Dark Griffin on Tracer. So basically, I'm not sure how everyone remembers this map going, but I'll just jump midway through it. It's basically just going to be the tanks shooting each other on point for most of the map, while the DPS struggle to get a foothold. Dark Griffin's running Tracer for most of the map, if not all of it, and he makes some great plays. I know it says he got headshotted there, but he does some great flanking and gets some kills. So this map goes back and forth, and I did actually want to ask Brazel right away about why you just jumped in and died right there.
Like I said earlier, I don't take in-house scrims seriously nearly ever.
So here's the thing.
So
So
that's
I just
why.
want to say,
I
like,
do that
having
like 2
a
more
Lucio,
times.
yeah, having a Lucio on this map is great. And my only feedback for like the first thing I just wanted to say to you, Brazel, individually is if you're gonna do this stuff, which is totally I encourage it on this map because Lucio boops make or break this map, and you do actually boop and you do win a team fight on your own because you boop off the supports or something in a later team fight. But if you're gonna do that, just do it better. Because there's no reason for you to just plop right in front of them like that.
Yeah, also another thing is I never pressed tab during this, so I didn't even know they had rig.
Yeah.
Like,
So
even though, like, I saw the Ana, but I could have gone and slept, or pulled, or rocked,
even so,
you know.
Raz and Scarecrow, you guys did a great job sticking together, playing together right now. This will become a recurring theme with Zombie about why like you're playing Brig. And I just can't help but say, like, I know, like, I watched you use your kit, and I think you did a great job using repair packs and propping up your teammates, but at the same time, like, you could have been a BAP here or a Zen. Honestly, I like a lot of times you're just kind of be stuck on heal bot duty, and I felt bad because it's just like there's no way to put it. It's like I know your Brig is good. It's like you have a lot of experience playing that character. At least it seemed like you were comfortable. But at the end of the day, like you would have helped your team a lot more if you're playing BAP, farming up your ult really quickly, or Zen being able to put discard on targets and frag with your teammates. Because like with Brig right now, like you can't swing at anything, and you're waiting for a tracer that we don't have to flank, or like a Lucio comes in, and that's just about it. But Scarecrow could easily kill the Lucio just using pull, or Roar could land a fat sleep, or Raz can hit a rock on the guy. Like there's options already for that. So anyway,
On that, the Brig was what we planned on initially. That was what we were going to start with. But I wasn't here. I had to take care of some house stuff, so I wasn't able to play alongside him and make the call to change or whatever. Which I've done in. I talked to Rudy about it, about the support lineup a lot since the scrim. But he was told to play Brig to counter Brazel's boops. That was our initial plan coming into the match.
For real. Oh my
Okay.
god.
Yep, going into
So-
it, they told me to watch for Brazel trying to boop us.
So okay,
Ridiculous.
that's a
Hell
fair
yeah.
call, but and I appreciate that. I think that's that's a safe call. And then I trust your team to make that choice. If it was me, I would say let's make a gutsy play. Let's bang on the fact that we're not going to get booped off the map too much. Let's play the BAP. Let's break those shields and spam them down. Because with a soldier and like with a soldier helping you guys with the shield poke, you guys were kind of winning the shield war, and it was making it difficult for Bean and Otel to make plays. At some point, Otel just in-straightened your team because of the shield break war is losing, or because he's losing the shield war. So like with a BAP there, like you could have dominated this point without like it being kind of like a tank versus tank footsies duel. You could have just straight up won it.
Also,
So-
one more thing on the Brig. Even if you were worried about me getting booped, or me getting boop kills, I mean, look where your Orisa is right now. Even if she isn't golden, and even if she isn't shooting or anything, if she's just standing still, the only way for me to boop her into that hole is if she's also walking towards the hole. Now, if we look at my tanks, Otel and Beancan, both of the positions that they're in right now, I could get a boop kill on them if I wanted to. So even on well that has this fucking black hole in the middle of the hole. Oh wait, I probably shouldn't say fucking right now. Anywho, the big hole that I love to throw people in. Where you are right now, I can't get those boop kills. So you don't need to put a Brig to hard counter my boop, especially with already what you have. You just need to play in that corner, like where your Orisa is right now, just helping them get the poke, winning the shield battle. Like hell, you guys could all focus. Like in this exact moment, I know Beancan's probably heading back to Otel right now, but he doesn't have a shield in front of him. You guys could have just mowed him down, but alas. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that.
For sure. Yeah. Which reminds me, by the way, so just for this VOD in general, guys, my style is to try and provide concise feedback that you guys can act on. So I might not dwell on any one particular map or team fight for too long. Anyway, let's jump a little bit ahead. There's a play that Derpy Shark makes that I think is a pretty great play, but I also wasn't sure why he took this risk because I don't think it would work out like on paper too often. So let me see. Otel pops Bongo, and the play that happens is that Derpy Shark breaks the Bongo before it can get big value. And because of, yeah, right here. Okay, so Derpy Shark makes a push, and I think he's so he makes a push right here on his own. And you guys talked about and were aware that Brazel goes for boops, that he's hungry, and he's gonna make Reddit Lucio plays. So I'm not sure what this play is, because you do actually get booped and you should have died, but Railing was here to save you. So if that was your plan, then that's ingenious. But because you push this way, you break the bongo, that splits and you also draw the aggro of Brazel and I. We're not there to help Otel as he pushes in and he dies, and we actually kind of lose this team fight. So I'm not sure if it was just pure accidental, and I wouldn't recommend trying to go for this flank in the future because just Brazel. But anyway, that was like a critical play that happened, just shutting down the bongo before he could get any value at all. So anyway, in the future, I would recommend just pushing left right here. Like you could frag the Logan, Logan in the duel. I think it's even. If you, with your heal field, he has to hit a lucky headshot, otherwise you win. So I mean, all of these flanks are yours, especially with Griffin right here. You guys kind of own the back alley of this map. Everything that's not, to just finally use EpiPen, I guess. Everything that's kind of below this line is places that we can contest, but above it, like Tracer and Soldier kind of own because they can just loop in and out of cover and everything. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. The real play that I want to talk about this map, and it's going to become a repeated thing. The first real thing that I think your team should start to consider and working on is what I can only call last fight discipline. Because in a last fight, at 97%, when a team is about to cap, the other team is about to cap and win the map. If you touch at 97%, you force the overtime ticker, which buys your team even more time to get on point. So you touch at 97, then you can leave, ticks up to 98, 99, and then it goes into overtime, and you have a few seconds after overtime to make it to point. So buying those few extra seconds, especially if the person that touches the point is able to get out without dying, gives your team a little bit more time to not just face tank into the choke and die. Because what winds up happening is that Dark Griffin is going to be, he makes a play, he pushes here, he gets attacked by, or he gets caught by the Lucio and the Hanzo, and he's forced to use recall, which is the real death of that's where things start to go wrong with the last team fight. But he gets a nice stick on the Otel, and that kills the Ana. So he gets value with his pulse bomb. He's already made a huge play. The problem is he doesn't have recall to dip out now, and at 90%, he dies from a lucky headshot from me, or Hanzo.
Can we
I forget
go
which.
to where you're talking about?
I will.
So
I'm
we
just
can have more visual.
I'm spelling it out for you. The fact is,
Okay.
is that I think you should have just waited, Griffin. I'm not sure if you're here, but I think you should have waited. So anyway, let's see. Right here. Yeah, okay. So here's what happens. Again, honestly, Griffin, this might just come down to watching Kabaji and practicing Tracer more, because I think you have talent for the Tracer. You made good plays all the same. So you basically go high ground and you blink along to here, right? So where are you?
I don't think Griffin's here.
He's
Okay.
not.
Okay. So Griffin makes this play to high ground. And honestly, with at 82%, and you guys are not on point, you have to immediately assume, okay, so we're last fight. We might have to just empty the whole kitchen sink on the enemy team just to retake the point. We're not going to get a second chance. So you should be thinking about last fights here and who's going to touch. And that is always going to be the most mobile character. In our case, it would be Lucio. In your guys' case, it's absolutely Griffin. No one else is nearly as mobile. Shark would probably die if he tried to make the push. Raz is the one that actually does make the push, and he dies for it anyway. So Shark pushes high ground like this, and you can see him taking damage right here. This is just a bad situation because you have the Hanzo right here, and Brazel is a hunter Lucio. He will chase down kills. So getting caught by them was bad. He's forced to use recall, which means any play he makes for the next 10 seconds is basically going to be a suicide mission. Recall right there. And so he blinks to get out of that little duel, sticks Otel, gets Ana, and now he's on point. The problem is that as we're about to cap and win, as we're about to cap into overtime numbers, he's on point way too early. He gets headshot, and that's where things start to really go wrong for your team. If he doesn't die there, if he just waits patiently or just goes for the stick, recalls out, gets the same value without dying, then your team probably takes this point because literally our main healer is dead. But because of that, Raz has to push in front of his team, and he dies. So he just marches out on the point, gets sandwiched, and really at that point, like your team is just scrambling to touch the point, and it's like there's no team dynamics here. Like it's just basically a skirmish. Anyway, you guys do want to retaking the point. That's because of mistakes on our team, but I just wanted you guys to like this is something that becomes a recurring issue, not retake or like a last fight discipline. Anyway, the decisive factor here, I think, not to toot my own horn, is I kill the Tracer again, but basically I just stay alive, and I'm just pot shotting this whole time, and I'm able to just, I don't know, put in enough damage to force people off a point with High Noon. Anyway, so it's unfortunate that Griffin isn't here, but I don't know if he's a member of the team, but yeah, I think he did a good job on Tracer.
He's a member of our team.
Okay, so ruins. This is where I'm really talking about. Did I put it? Yeah. Okay, so this ruins really is where I'm talking about that pathing and not having a Lucio trouble, because not having a Lucio means we get to point first, and not only that, but the fight or the map basically doesn't even happen on point. You're gonna see. Let me see right here. Yeah, the map is gonna happen right here. That's all it's going to be, and it's just going to be us holding you at this little choke, which is exactly where a McCree and an Anna want to hold. But you guys run Brig. You're gonna swap to a Reaper. I think Shark's gonna swap off the Torb to a Reaper. Yeah, you guys want to get in close, but instead the fight happens here. I think, yeah, the reason that the fight happens here is because Logan hits a good shot onto your Brig. She's gonna die right here. Yep, she gets headshotted. So at this point, I'm actually curious. What was your guys' comms? Do you guys remember when this happened, the first fight?
So I think what comes would have been where to just like fall back a bit since we just lost like one of our healers, or to like play passively.
Okay, yeah. So with a Hotel's really low, so you couldn't make the push to try and kill him, but you're probably going to lose the point considering that you're down one of your supports. Yeah, so whatever the call is, if it's fight in, right, like go all the way in, or to back off, it has to be like someone call it and everyone follow through on it, because what we wind up seeing is like the splitting of an atom and everyone's going to be going which way. And I mean, it's not a big deal, but it does add up over time. Derpy Shark's going to get caught not rotating fast enough back to cover, and he's going to die because he's basically like he just gets caught by the rest of the Renaissance team pushing forward and cleaning up. So yeah, I'm not sure what the call was, but just keep just again, like when your teammate dies and now you're in a disadvantage, you guys need to make a call to say, okay, are we going to push in? Are we going to fight? You know, like, well, the tank is low. Like, let's just, okay, attack. You know, like call the target and just go in, or you back off. But if you don't call anything, then confusion happens. People start dying, and now you're just getting behind in ult economy and the point progress. So yeah, you should have followed Raz back there, Derpy. I'm not harping on you too much about it. That's just something that happens, you know. Anyway, so at this point, you guys don't ever try and make a push anywhere aside from these doors right here. So again, like this is a pathing issue. I'm not sure who is the shot caller for like pathing or just like targets on your team. I would assume is it you, Scarecrow, or is it you, Raz?
It's usually me. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, so if I were you, I would never try and push these doors if I was going to be going in without a Lucio against a McCree and an like. There's just too much spam. Especially with the Zarya going to be high charge. Like there's just going to be too much stuff to break your shield before you even get a chance to whack something. So that means that you can try, if you're not going to go push the choke because there's too much spam, then that means you can go left or you can go right. The issue with going left is it's a boop hazard, and you guys already are aware of Brazel. It's also just like, let me back up a little bit. It's also in the sightlines of our Widow, who is playing. It's actually really funny. She just kind of sits there. Sorry, he just kind of sits. He just sits here and he just kind of does nothing for about a minute. Anyway, but that's one reason why I wouldn't recommend playing or pushing coast, as we call it. I would recommend pushing mountainside. So when you push mountainside, that means that the fight, or like the angles where people are going to be tossing in damage, is going to be right around this area until it gets to this little doorway right here or on the point. So in this little area right here, if you've got all your team grouped up right here or anywhere along this line, you're gonna have a Reaper, you're gonna have a Brig, you're gonna have your 2 Brawl tanks. That's not a fight we can win. We only have 2 Brawl characters. So as soon as you decide to go left, you own this part of the map. If Otel decides to walk in there or Bean decides to walk in there, they're gonna die. So that's just something to consider. Like for pathing next time, as opposed to getting held up at the choke. You guys are just gonna see right now. Let me just put it on ×2 mode. But basically, there's no pushing that's gonna happen from the left. Your shield's just gonna get worn out before you have a chance to push, and you're gonna get fragged out. So another thing is, Dark Griffin went for aggro angles with the Widow, but that's a side point. The issue is if you're trying to push right here as Widow against a Widow and a Lucio, you're going to have a hard time. RSauce's going to dive the Widow every time. That's just how he is. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so let me just mark this right here. We're at 55%. At about 51%, Raz came up with Grav. Raz has actually stayed alive this whole time. He's not died at all. So he's always had good charge and this entire map, and he has Grav at the halfway mark, but he never uses Grav. So I'm not sure if you guys are ult planning at all. So this is my first signal of ult planning, but like, even if it's not a big fat 6-team like or 6-player team ult or like Grav, like I feel like Raz's performance on this map was stellar enough to like the point where you guys had the chance to retake the point, but you didn't because there wasn't ever a plan for using Grav. Now, granted, people are still getting staggered here, so it's not a good idea. And then by the time that everyone's back and regrouped, it's last fight, and then you guys get high nooned and Grav together and you die. But again, like that's not playing around the ults that you guys have. So the staggering continues. It's already last fight at 70% because you can't like get the cart quickly. And we're just gonna grab right here. And that's it. Anyway, so so again, pathing, not having Lucio, that's something to consider. Anyway, so on the topic of motifs, Raz, I just want to ask, like, this becomes like a thing that happens more frequently, like on different maps too. This happens on Hollywood, and it's kind of the reason that 6-0 doesn't get to play for about a minute. I would say, I'm not sure, but you seem to hold your Grav for a long time. Is there any talk in the team chatter of like what ults you're going to use and when you want to use Grav?
We usually communicate like combos and stuff, but we have a hard time following through on what we say.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries.
Because if we say like, usually it's like, all right, we're gonna do Grav and this alt, and then like 4 more alts go off, or someone gets picked and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. No, it's just we got to get better at that.
Okay, so yeah, if someone gets picked, it's unfortunate, but then the call is made whether you stick with the plan or you back out.
Yeah,
But,
just remember, Overwatch in itself is a game of resources. Yeah, it's an FPS, but completely ignoring that fact, it's a game of resources. You've got resources like time, ults, cooldowns, and then most importantly, players. So even if you do end up having a 5v6, but if you guys have Grav Dragon, or in this case, like Grav Pulse Bomb, you guys can still win that. You guys can get, even if you just get 2 picks, it's now in your favor. So you can go for, like, even if it is a 5v6, just because you lose one person doesn't mean immediately back out of every fight. So, yeah. That's all I have to say on that.
Okay. Anyway, so as
Why are
just
we looking
something
at
to
Logan?
laugh at, this is Logan, and he's just going to This goes on for a minute, guys. He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of like, where's the
He
team?
can't see anyone.
I know. He can only see his teammates. Like, what's going on? Like, the
Anyway.
Widow's over there. The Widow's over there to the right, but he doesn't even get to do anything. He's just kind of like, oh, I saw a health bar.
Anyways,
Anyway.
back to the actual VOD.
So I thought that was just something funny to laugh at. We're not. It's not like you guys. It's not like you guys couldn't have beat us. You guys did play well. I'm just talking about the mistakes and like whether people are playing seriously or not. These are just mistakes that like once you correct them, you guys are going to be super strong. Especially when you guys start doing what you did on Route 66, setting up RAR so he can hit people on the high ground. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway.
Don't you mean Hollywood?
No, I'm talking about Route 66.
Oh.
RAR fragged on Route 66. Like he did stuff on Hollywood, but he owned the map on Route 66 on Ash. Anyway, so again, what I'm talking like the stuff I'm talking about here is just like, so you did this, try this instead. That's the feedback. That's what I'm trying to give you guys right now. Anyway, let me think. How does this first? Oh yeah, so some really bizarre shit happens to Derpy on this map, and I don't know why, but like literally he just gets catapulted into this back to the spawn room. And we'll see it right here. It's just very bizarre. And I feel bad because it's like, oh man, they played the map well and they actually did better walls than Arme did, but instead he's just gonna get fucking launched into our team and he's just gonna get gobbled up. And I was like, wow, we kind of got cheated by that. But the game physics won us that fight. So this is a good wall that you pop right here. It's a fast wall, right? So it's not easy to be accurate, but you've basically blocked LOS from half of our from like 2 of our players or half of our team because Anna's stuck out here. If you see the Anna, let me just draw right here. Anna's right here. I'm right here, and Lucy's right here. Like he's gonna have to rotate around to get an angle. But in the meantime, you guys can smash in. The one problem is that next, like you push this doorway and you didn't have your shield up, so you instantly got antied, and that puts you guys in a disadvantage. We've been run like for the past 2 maps, we've been running the Anna, so it's like I don't want to harp on you too much, but like if you push a doorway against like a team that probably has the Anna and you don't have your shield up, it's gonna put your team at a disadvantage. Anyway, that aside, that doesn't lose you the fight. Physics loses you the fight. It decides to have a fun time, and what winds up happening is Derpy at half health gets launched into the middle of the point for some reason. I don't know why. I think he jumped and got booped by a Zarya bomb at the same time, but he's way out in front of the shields. Can't do anything about it. Dances on Logan's head and dies. So
I wondered what happened there. It's just like he was right behind me, and then I just see him in front of everyone.
yeah, literally, Clank, the physics gods of space engineers, like decided to pop into Overwatch for a day, and you just decided you get the ticket back to the spawn room. So we died instead. Anyway, at this point, it's just cleanup. Not really gonna talk about what people did or didn't do wrong here, aside from like if the fight's lost, die or get out as fast as you can, so that you can't like, especially on 2CP, so you don't stagger. Get out ASAP. So Dark Griffin took a little bit longer, but that's okay. The next thing, like this is a mistake that I feel like you guys can definitely like learn from this once and like it'll never happen to you again. I'm gonna play as next Scarecrow, and I want you to tell me what you didn't calm or what you didn't see or didn't respond to. Let me see. I'm not sure what the word is, but anyway.
All right.
So there you are. Okay. So here you are coming back.
I didn't call the people.
So yeah, the CC is kind of a pain in the ass, but so let's see. You're already anti. It's just there's spam coming in, but you're gonna die here. But that's beside the point. Do you recognize what mistake you made by the time that this wall comes up?
I didn't see the May, or I didn't know the wall was coming up.
You didn't see the May, right? Let's go back a little bit. I'll go back to your perspective. The May was visibly walking above you on the catwalk, so you knew that she might have been high ground, which means she's got a great and easy angle to just wait instead of the wall. Right here. And even if it wasn't you, Raz could see it. RAR might be able to see like basically most of the team could be able to see that the May was resetting or repositioning to this side of the high ground over here. And even if she dropped down to do some shenanigans, under like in the room with the Mega, or if she just went back with her team. The fact is that like it should be keen on your mind that she might be up there. And again, like if you had a Lucio, you can go send someone to check, but you don't have any higher mobility aside from the tracers, so there's no way to know for sure. So you're blind pushing into a Mei hazard. That's the mistake. Anyway, that aside, there is a way to fix this, even if you don't scout that. And this is what, let me see if it's the right. Yeah, okay. This is what Otel, the tank for Renaissance, calls playing a tight butthole, or his comm is literally just get in my asshole. So I know it sounds a little bit coarse, but against a Mei, you have to adapt your playstyle because she's going to look to zone you off with walls that will, well, why draw it when I can just let the wall do the talking? The wall is going to zone you off from players on the other side so that pins and frags and all kinds of shit can go in uncontested. Wait for it. But imagine if all of you were grouped up right here, or if you pushed left and you were all literally in Scarecrow's asshole as you pushed. Like, I know it's scary as an Anna, or maybe as someone more squishy like a Tracer. Like, Tracer doesn't have to worry about that because she's got the mobility. But, like, if you play in Scarecrow's asshole, it becomes very difficult for Logan to be able to wall people off. Best case scenario, he misses. Mid case scenario, like what's generally going to happen, half of you are just going to be lifted up on the wall, and you can drop forward with your Rhine, and so the Mei wall is useless. Anyway, so that's two ways to do it. If you scout the Mei, then you can avoid the Mei wall, but a lot of times you can't do that. So what you want to do is you want to play like a tight little butthole. Like right now, we're not, but we're in an area where we're waiting for you to come into our Mei wall trap. There's other points during other maps I can point out, like when everyone's literally just grouped up, like the comp implies, like a death ball. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Against the Mei, you guys want to stay grouped up so you don't get walled off. More on that point is like having a Lucio. I keep saying having a Lucio, but still having a Lucio to like speed in or speed out of engages based on whether the Mei wall works or not is also really helpful. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a very good reason that Lucio is played in 80% of team comps. It's because he's the only hero in the game that can make other heroes have more mobility. So in this meta where like with what we're playing, Rhine Zarya, Rhine is just such a slow hero because of his shield that not having the Lucio, yeah, I know that the call was out, just play Brig, yeah. But not having that Lucio really screws you over. Not being able to push past a Mei with amping speed. And then look, we take out Scarecrow, and then we push you guys back to your spawn.
Yep.
If you guys did have a Lucio and you were playing how Otel describes, you guys, our Mei wall probably might have only gotten 2 people who were still coming out of your spawn in that area. I know you can't see my mouse, but so it only cuts 4 to 2. And in that case, you guys probably won't lose anyone. And Lucio, like it. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say. Lucio is the most strong hero in the game just because of speed, or at least speed is the strongest ability, I should say. That's all.
Most strong.
It's true.
Most strong.
Like,
Okay.
say something?
Yeah. So there you go.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So like, the whole point of this team, like, or not the whole point, but like, they have a Lucio and the ability to speed in, like Lucio to many O's is saying, it's pretty much like any staggers, anytime they want to push up, like we're gonna get pushed. So the whole point of the Brig in general was because we knew you guys played a strong dive, and we can't really counter dive as well. So our goal was to Brig in more of a death comp to fight against that. But that's all I want to say.
Okay. And I respect the planning. You guys are thinking about your opponents and adjusting your playstyle to the specific team. That being said,
absolutely amazing. Keep doing
some of these maps are like, even if the enemy team tries to run dive, like on Lighthouse, like it's hard to run dive, especially if you have to fight in a little death box like this area. With a Mei wall to block off heals, Zarya at high charge, Ryan swinging his goddamn hammer and pinning in close range, so it's not a risky pin. Not too risky. Like, even if they try to run dive, even if we tried to run dive, it would be difficult. So there's just some maps where like you don't even have to worry about the dive. You can play a brawl comp, whether or not like run dive or not, and you can have it tailor suited to deal with either one. But yeah, having a Lucio, I just believe that running a Lucio more and getting used to being able to make plays around speed and disengaging with speed is one of the, pun intended, fastest ways that you can improve. Anyway, so this is just like a bunch of staggers, and it becomes like a trade of ults. Hotel, it's a big shatter here. Like that's just a Ryan v Ryan duel. I'm not gonna harp you about whether you screw something up or not. But at this point, it's 65%, and you're not on point. So this is basically last fight territory. Like it's gonna take another 15% just to get to the choke, and at that point, at 80%, like you die. Like if you don't die, like if you don't all just explode at that point and get sent back to spawn room, then there's no way you're gonna make it back to the point like past like 80, 82%. So this is already last fight territory, and Raz is coming up on a grav, and Griffin has pulse. So my first thought is like, okay, great. So they have a pulse grav combo, which honestly I like more than grav dragon, because it's just like it's just instant, just bang. Like there's no tick 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 with the pulse bomb. You just instantly take 350 damage, and anything that's not armored up or a tank just gets instantly destroyed. So that being said, Griffin just throws the pulse bomb, and I don't think he gets any value with it. I wish there was comms about comboing the like just wait for Raz to get his pulse bomb. Like Raz has had good discipline about farming up his energy. You guys can touch point and try and draw the fight out, get that pulse bomb in there, and then you can just explode, some heads. But instead, he goes for a pulse bomb play, and again, last fight discipline, he dies. So there's no one to touch point, and like the team comp just falls apart. So I scouted it also. You guys went high ground. That reminds me. So a great way to counter Maywall, right? You just go high ground and you drop onto point. There's no easy area to like wall someone right here. This is a hazard, obviously, because Lucio can boop you, but you can drop down anywhere right here, and the Maywall is going to be hard pressed to find more value, right? So you guys adapted. I'm assuming that was the call. That was the play. Like, let's go high ground to avoid the Maywall.
Yeah. The only thing about that is, for me, it was more of a lag issue of why I fell off the high ground right there.
Who fell off the high ground?
Ryan.
Oh yeah. That was an oopsies, but that happens. Like at that point, you just push like under your team. There's not enough time to go all the way back around. Like they're just gonna take too much damage without your shield. But Griffin pushes way too early, and he's just gonna die to like a chunk of damage and a stun. And at this point, you guys are in the. This isn't a conga line per se, but like when you can draw like a straight line with your players, like that's when things start to become like worrisome. Like I'm not complimenting my team for like being perfect positioning all the time, but like if there's any time when you can draw things like a rectangle or a triangle with where your players are positioned, like this, that's a good sign. That means that like you've got angles overlapping and covering, as opposed to this where like things basically now all the damage gets focused onto this, then it goes to this. It's like a chain explosion. So I mean, like at this point, I can't really harp on you guys because it's just like you guys are like a player down and you're rushing to get to point. I understand it. And Brazel's thirsty for boops. He gets a boop and this and that, and it's just unfortunate. Derpy Shark's got the blizzard, but he chucks it as he's falling. Doesn't get any value. Lots of unlucky. So I mean, that's whatever. You guys got a fair amount of unluck on this map. So just like don't sweat it. Like there's just some plays, some 50-50s that turn their way. The score doesn't reflect the actual result. On that note, it reminds me on the middle map, Ruins. I remember your Ryan getting nanoed the millisecond after he got antied. And I was just like, fuck, dude. Like literally that was about to be a big old brawl, but he got antied at like low health and then he got nanoed, so he just died and the nano was wasted. So it was unfortunate for you guys. Anyway, so you guys immediately bounce back from Hollywood and punch us in the teeth. So good shit. I wasn't sure what the call for the Mercy was though. This confused me because I know you could pocket Duds, but if Duds hits a headshot, he's gonna get a kill. I didn't see a reason for it. I could see a reason for pocketing RAR.
Yeah, I would assume it'd be more for RAR.
And the Mercy did get value because she rezzed the Ryan or somebody, but like you guys, like literally Rar and Duds had already fragged out by then, and the point was clear. I would say like you could just go to Lucio again. Anyway, this is just nitpicking minor stuff. Oh yeah, actually, before we go this, again, just something to just balance out this VOD with, you know, useful stuff and also just funny content. Let me see. It was at like the 11:09 mark. Fucking AJ, I goddamn swear this man. Okay, so we're gonna go to AJ's perspective. He's doing his Healy thing. He's being Anna. This is the team that you guys lost. Like literally, like you guys didn't lose. We just played slightly better. I'm gonna take an icicle right here. So I'm now at what? Like if you see that, I'm now at like 2/3 health. Owie! I took an icicle to the face. And AJ is going to miss every shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jesus Christ, AJ. Anyway, so I just wanted to keep that in mind. It's not like we're perfect either. Just stupid shit is like happening up and down. It's just about like, can you elevate your baselines so that stupid shit like that isn't frequent. Anyway, could you imagine if that's the reason I died? I just got icicled again. And you guys just like cap the point. I mean, some stupid shit. So anyway, let's see. How does this fight get opened up? Oh yeah, Logan. So I'm not sure if you guys spotted this or if you're just playing based on like your experiences. But what's gonna happen here is you guys are gonna push main, and Logan, like we're gonna have our shield right here. Logan's gonna be roaming around this area. Our May is gonna be roaming around this area, and he dies literally because I don't know why. He's just way out of position, out of shield cover. And from there, you guys just frag out. So just great job setting the tone with this first push. What you guys like, what that did is it staggered us, and now we played some weird hybrid dive comp on second point, and we literally never had a proper contest on the cart. So yeah, pocketing the Hanzo or something like that. Logan is, you see him, he's roaming out here. This is bad. He should not be here. He should be playing cover. And he gets some damage, some chip, and then he dies. Raz explodes. Raz is the one that gets rezzed. So that's the Mercy comes in huge here because he rezzed one of your biggest damagers right back. But at this point, you guys are fragging out. Rar takes the high ground. That reminds me. So basically, when your team looked best is when you are pushing point. You're taking that team fight because surprise, Raz, Derpy, and Scarecrow, like you guys are good tanks. Like you guys play well together. You play safe, like, or you don't int. You don't take unnecessary damage.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy your DPS time to make plays. And with someone like Roar on your team, like this like time again, this scrim, Roar will pop up or prop up on a high ground, and he will make a play. And that's just like, if that's like your team dynamic, then that's fantastic because literally he just gets the chance to spam into people at high ground, drop down on Otel and finish him off. Just keep that in mind. Again, like when you guys played best, you were able to buy space for Roar to set up and shoot down at things. So you guys do best when Roar gets to do the shooty. Anyway, so at this point, Brazel dove the Widow. Hashtag serious scrims. Anyway, at this point, we're getting staggered, and this map just becomes a fucking roll, I swear. Let me see. Was there anything in particular? Oh, yeah. Okay. Even so, on attack, you guys don't all combo at all. You all combo once, and it helps you cap the map. You all combo at the very end, but Raz holds this dragon for so long, it makes me think that he probably could have. Sorry, he holds the grab for so long, he could have farmed another one, I think, because he was high charge most of the map.
Oh, Hollow, before we go on, would you be able to share that document with just by like sending a share link in chat just so everybody can read it?
Yeah.
Sure. Honestly, well, I'll just say this right now. So I just got kicked off a team because people don't like how I say things. So if you don't like how I say or how I said something in there, just message me and say, look, could you phrase it a little bit better? And I will. I'm sorry. If that comes up. Anyway,
Oh, I'm so
I'll
sorry.
post this in the tips and tricks. I think. I just want to make that disclaimer right now. Like, surprise, Hollow can be a what the fuck.
Wow.
Anyway,
Oh
so
my
Hollow can
God.
be a little bit of a dick. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it, depending on how angry and when's the last time he ate food. But anyway, I just want to just give you that disclaimer. I'm not always considerate of other people's feelings. Anyway, so you guys staggered us just over and over and over again. Otel pushes in at low health because there's no talk of communications between positioning for the Ana, where we're going to get heals. I don't know. Our comp is a mess, but you guys, again, playing like with even without the Mei, this is a really great shape, death ball shape. Rar just has like the presence of mind to keep pushing high ground. He's going to do that on defense too. He's going to be farming his ults. You guys played really well on this map. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me just speed through it. Oh, what's up, Rizal?
So adding on to that, so winning team fights is about punishing other people's mistakes, and you guys pretty much punished every single one of our mistakes that we made in Hollywood, and that's why you fucking rolled us. You ended the game with like nearly 5 minutes remaining or some shit like that, and it's just you like this map. You guys punished so many of our mistakes.
Yeah,
and
it was fantastic.
Yeah, so if you see a mistake, make sure you call it out, and then like basic ones are like Reinhardt like positioning are like the easiest mistakes to make or to call on, I should say.
Which reminds me.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Unless were you finished?
No,
Brazil?
that was it. Yeah.
Okay. Which reminds me. So you talked earlier about having the brig to deal with the dive.
Mm-hmm.
You had the brig. You dealt with the dive. So good fucking job. Like I can't really say anything else. Like you're totally right. You played the brig, canceled out the dives from the monkey, and it worked out a lot. Except on defense, just there was individual plays and mistakes in terms of positioning and cooldown usage. We'll talk about that in a bit. I'm looking at 6-0. I'm looking at duds, or dudes. Those were some of them. There was just some plays where you could have done things better. Anyway, so this point, really not any issues. Rar's about to use a I'm a better than you dragon, because he literally is like, I can farm up another one by the time Raz gets Grav. I mean, that's your choice. I would have held it because it's like you guys were rolling as it was, but it's just hard to hit targets with a dragon when they're running so many like mobility heroes, like the tanks or something like that. It's like, where do you aim? But it works out. So we're just getting fucking rolled here. I stagger really late. What's up?
I could explain why I've been doing like the pre-fight dragons. It's because I noticed your Ana wants to set up for her nades, and you kind of want to set up for a dive, or like that's how you guys kind of play. So I don't want to give you guys time like to think. So I usually try to cause some chaos because most of the time the team isn't going to push in. So either I'm on high ground and I'm spamming you guys down because dive is weak against spam. So if you guys dive me, I want that. But if you dive the team, I don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm doing the dragons, just to make you guys commit to something.
Well, it worked because throwing the dragon in there to disrupt the team dynamic, it worked because we didn't have a single team dynamic for this entire point. That being said, just like Raz holds grab for so long, and it really isn't a problem because you guys are rolling so hard. But I'm worried that it might become an issue later on. The fact of the matter is, just Raz is farming grabs consistently. So that's my point. Is like you might be able to just like yeet grabs out there. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. You'll learn from them, and that way, like you can just like you can basically every time you have grab, every time you use it now, like you get stronger and stronger. That's aside the point. I can't really nitpick you guys this map. I kept telling myself that, even like I found things to nitpick because, you guys just play that well.
I'll let you know when I wanted Raz to use Grav. It's like third point.
Oh yeah, you guys get the grab dragon off on third point, and that's what helps you cap the map.
It's even before that when I asked for it. But
okay,
I'll show you when we're there.
So Conga line part 2. Anyway, I just noticed that right now. I forget, there's something I want to talk about right here because I get the kill. I help secure the kill on the Rhine. Oh yeah, so Otel just goes in and dies, but the shatter helps. I think. What is it? Yeah, you guys just regroup. Even though Ryan dies, you just play well. Oh yeah, it was the high noon. Duds goes for a fat flank high noon, and it gets value, just massive value. I think it gets 2. Yeah, he chunks out some people, and then 3 of us just get sent back to the spawn room instantly. So that was a great play. Like honestly, this is my ego talking, I think a little bit, but like I felt like if I didn't get high noon there, I would to contest the point. I felt like I could have helped the team rally at this point, but fuck, I just got destroyed instead. So you guys just straight roll people all the way through. And I don't think the stagger stopped there either.
No, they definitely continue. Oh, looky there.
Yep. So you guys push through. I'm trying to remember if there's anything at this point. Yeah, Raz has had his grav. I did the math. He held his grav for about a minute and 30 seconds. So minute 30
Which in
seconds.
that time you can pull up another grav.
Yeah, it's really just personal preference. Because you make it work in the end. You just like, it's like, well, I'll just bank this alt combo for last fight and just destroy everyone. So that works. Oh yeah.
It's for
So
this
this
fight.
was a fuck up. This was a sorry. What's up?
Oh, it's for this fight that I wanted to use Grab Dragons.
Okay. Well, it didn't.
Yeah, there would have been a great time. Like I would have used beat for it, and my timing on I have learned the timing on Grab Dragon with beat, so it can be countered using beat alone. But any follow up will pretty much make beat useless.
All right. So, I'm trying to keep this VOD short, but I felt like this is important to point out. You guys won first point because Rar took the high ground and Logan was playing out of position. You guys won second point because we just kept getting staggered. We didn't regroup, and you guys just kept the tempo in your favor. And then this third point, you guys won this first fight because the biggest damage dealer and the biggest healer on our team decided to do something really stupid, and we just left Otel out to dry. So basically, Jabo has this irrational fear that Duds is going to go on a flank for him, and so he's going to rotate around here to the right. I'm going to follow him because I'm acutely aware of the fact that he's going to walk right here and get stunned. And because of that, literally, Otel is going to walk into your team and get exploded. He has no heals, and he's just going to get exploded. So here it is.
Exactly like what I was saying with mistakes. Just the team who punishes more mistakes win.
Dead. Yeah. So let me just do this. Basically, that's one of those situations of winning the battle to lose the war. We had 3 people here fighting Duds. We had the Lucio, Anna, and the McCree. But instead, we gave up the cart and our best cart contester in Rhine. We basically gave up this first half of third point to kill your McCree. So we are playing terribly, and you guys clustering up, playing smart. Like McCree going out and making a gutsy flank doesn't work out, but at the same time we overinvest. It works out just fine. So you said you wanted to use Grab Dragons during that fight, is that right? But
yes.
Did the Rhine just die so fast that like you're just like, oh, we don't need it?
You have to ask Raz because I asked for it, but I don't think he said anything.
Do you remember Raz? Raz-san?
I think Raz is having
Yeah, he's
internet
still
issues.
muted.
I'm here.
Okay. So not to cause any problems because honestly it worked out that you guys held Grab Dragon for later, but Roar says you didn't use Grab this fight. Now I'm not saying that's the wrong call or the right call. I just want to know, like, so what was your
What went
thinking
through your
when
head?
when you're going through this play or going through this fight?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? Okay. So maybe he just didn't hear the call. Either way, you guys played well enough as a team that it didn't matter.
That does happen a lot with Rar too, is he'll try and make a call or call out like an enemy position and just no one hears it.
Okay.
Rar just has a very soft voice.
So your team is that happens to us too. That's Drake literally bought like a mic and boosted it to like 200% so that we could hear him better. And then he retired, so let's just hope that doesn't fall suit with your team. But
yeah, that was funny though.
Anyway, so that's fair. I mean, sounds like you guys are just vibing. Like you guys were rolling, and like you could feel the roll train. You're just kicking ass. There's nothing really you could do to screw it up aside from fat fingering. But you walk right up, chuck a grab onto point, and we get dragon. And that's pretty much it. Easy peasy. Anyway, so let me see. Was there anything? Offense. Asked about that. Yeah, so that was it. All combos. Holding the grab for possibly too long didn't really matter, but still something to worry about. Defense was a lot more questionable, though. Raised a lot of questions, starting with the comp that you guys had. Because this comp, I'm going to be perfectly blunt. This comp, I feel like you couldn't have picked worse supports for the tanks that you had. So the reason I feel like that is because you run double shield, and double shield is a spammy comp. So you guys want to keep that fight at mid range, and you're going to want to use shields to block damage and kite back as you chunk them out with massive, with the massive CC and damage that you guys got going on from your tanks. And also you've got a Widow and a Hanzo, so you got pick potential. Thing is though, is that if you're trying to fight at the mid range, what can these two healers accomplish? So one of them can chuck orbs, but with the state of Moira right now, that's not a good idea. She probably wants to chuck healing orbs, not damage orbs. She can kind of sucky suck, but at the same time, that's kind of risky because you want to play behind shields, which is probably going to be further away. This person, on the other hand, can literally just armor pack people, and that's it.
Well, to defend the Moira pick, Moira's bullshit ability, that I call her primary, is it has the range of Roadhog hook. So playing with how Double Shield plays, it essentially plays at the same distance that would have you could swap out Raz into a Hog, and you'd probably be playing at the exact same distance anyways. So just to defend the Moira a little bit, her suck wouldn't change anything there. But I agree that the sports should change. It should 100% be BAP Mercy in this case. So your BAP would just focus your tanks, and then RAR and Duds have constant pockets by the Mercy.
Right.
So,
because
we need to go dive anyways, and so the Brig is justified there, but the Moira could still swap.
Yep, I understand the logic, for the Moira Brig because of the dive, but at the same time, if you're going to be going full dive, then I think or if you're going to be going full counter dive, then I think you swap up one of these DPS, because Torb is also a really great hero for dealing with dive. On this map, he loves his first point. You could set up a turret in any place. You could set up a turret here. You could set up a turret here, even here, or on the high ground. There's lots of places you can set up turret to help you out.
Yeah,
this is a difficult place to dive without the anti-nade coming in to help secure kills. It actually does, so it actually works in our favor. But again, no anti-nade lands, or you just play downstairs in here, then it becomes a really difficult place to dive, especially with all of that chunky damage coming from the Sigma, coming from the Hanzo, and then you have Derpy ready to pull and anyone that gets stuck in the way or get hit by a rock. So I understand the logic, but when you're running double shields, it's a really hard case to make to not have a BAP. BAP's AoE heals and his ammo field just do so much for the playstyles of these two tanks. Yeah. So anyway, that's my personal thought. I understand. I imagine you guys have your reasoning for it, right? It was counter dive.
We don't have setup. When we go out, we just go out with whatever we have. We need to work on setting up strict team comps. That's our big thing right now. We have to work on these heroes work well with these heroes, and this is what we need to play. Right now, it's just pick whatever.
So do you guys talk about what you are going to play beforehand, or is it just everybody?
Not. Usually we don't have a full setup of this is what we need to do.
So it's essentially, from looking at it, it's just the tanks look at who the other tank is playing so they can synergize. Then same with the support, and then the DPS also do the same. Is that how things are going? Because
I don't even know if it's that much into it. I know me and Zombie try to play off of each other. Other than that, it's not really communicated what's going on.
Tanks do that as well.
Yeah, no, then because the double sniper doesn't make sense with double shield, but double sniper is insanely powerful just because you have two people who can just randomly one-shot somebody out of fucking nowhere. But that would be better with a different take line or a different support line. So it definitely talk before game. Like
What we
something
need
Ren
is
does is we talk throughout the
we need
entire.
time to play with each other more because we're doing pugs and we're doing these community events and we're doing VOD reviews and we're not setting up and working on our comps and what works well with what. We need to start dedicating our time to stuff like that. But we're
Okay,
working
yeah.
on
So
it.
scrims.
Me and Rudy talk all the time. We're working on stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, then. So I can't do a. Yeah, I'll type it up later. Basically, I'll type up some like right now this is just all the notes I'm providing for the VOD. But afterwards I'll type away like what I want you to take away from this, like what you guys can work on. I'll be sure to mention it in there about basically coming up with clear, distinct team comps and knowing how you want to play it. That was actually in my notes. The first thing the first question that raised my own, or the first thing that occurred to me was like, you got to ask yourselves these 3 questions whenever you're playing as a team, like in an organized manner. Like, what is your comp like? What is your comp going to do in terms of who's going to contest the point? Where are you going to rotate if you get dove or if they push point or something like that? And what are you trying to achieve? So double shield wants to spam. That's why BAP works great because you can double up on the spam. McCree, Soldier, Ash again. Like RAR wasn't playing the Ash this time around, and like in hindsight, like it made me wonder why. But I don't know. Like that aside, the reason you guys lose this first point is other things. Duds makes some bad he makes like a bad shield discipline mistake and he just peeks out right here and he's gonna get dinked from right here. I'll let that play out. From there, I think like a big ante comes in and some other stuff. Like there wasn't a plan about rotating. So after like a lucky pick kind of throws everything into chaos, people are going this way and people are going this way, and Dive just wants that to happen. Dive wants you to be split up so that we can just finish off one thing and then go to the other. Anyway, so I'll let it play out and you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna push right here in the servers and I'm gonna hit a lucky headshot on the Widow.
Wait,
I
I
just
just want
see her
to
peeking out of shields and I'm gonna flick at her. What's up?
say something. So like I mentioned this before, even during like while we're setting up, I asked both tanks why are they setting up back there while we're up here, right? I'm gonna be up top, Duds to be wherever he wants to be. But we just give them so much space, like your team so much space. And I mentioned this like 2 times at least while we were setting up here. And this is like sometimes tell the team it's like a case of where the DPS are making space, not the tanks. And it even happens on, for example, you'll see Anubis as well. I'll point it out. But holding back there doesn't benefit anyone except for the tanks, because
The
you
tanks and
can't
the
really
Widow.
do anything. Yeah, if she goes back there, but right
Yeah,
now
she was there.
she's not like playing there. But I agree with what you're saying. But at the same time, I don't know why we give so much space to, let's say, dive, because we're gonna like assume you're going dive. It's like of using break, and like dive's weakness is to spam them before they can make a dive, before they choose to go in. We just gave you guys all this space after the choke. You guys could fight around. You guys could go main. You guys could go through the tunnel, like through the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best spot to set up, at least in my opinion, for this double shield, like, because we're going dive, but you guys don't know that unless Rar ends up throwing, unless he threw a Sonic at the door, but I don't think he did. So, best place that I'd recommend with what you guys are thinking would be the high ground where Zombie is at right now. And then, if you guys did need to, you can immediately hop down to the corner where everybody always holds. So, yeah, there, and then that little corner right there. Exactly.
So option 1, option 2. Okay.
And the only
So-
reason to ever go in the high ground where your tanks are currently at is I've only seen it ever run on Bastion,
Yeah,
because
this is-
Bastion can just, it takes about 3 seconds to go from the choke to point, and that's 1,500 damage immediately because Bastion has 500 DPS on his own. But yeah, so
Okay.
positioning.
So, on that note, I'm glad you brought it up. And for the tanks that are in chat right now, I just want you to keep this in mind. If it feels like you're getting flamed, Don't sweat it. There's a saying that I really like that fits this perfectly right now. The saying goes, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And learning, like on that note, like to really be able, like in a position to learn, you have to ask the right questions, right? So Roar asked the question, why are we here? And there's also questions of what do we want to do? How do we set up our DPS? How do we win this point? You know, like how do we defend it? So like you saw like what happens when you like when you do this, now you actually have the experience to finally ask those questions because you have like a baseline to say like, well, if I do this, then I give up all this space and so on. So keep that in mind. Like this is like these are the right questions to ask. And if you ask yourselves these questions for every map, every defense, like the answers that you find, like that's going to define growth as a player. Anyway, so that aside, I'm gonna let the map play out. It is what it is for this first point. Let me see. Defense. Duds out of position more than once. 6-0 getting set. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna talk about Duds and 6-0 for this defense. So I walk right in here. I'm gonna pop one arrow. Dink. And that causes all problems to break loose. Reese is gonna push the point, and everyone else is gonna back off. So now we've got this is the ideal dive setup. We've got split with walls blocking people in beneath. This is the exact opposite of what you want against a dive. Anyway, so just keep that in mind. This is what dive aims to do. So just keep it like, oh, okay. So this is how dive works. Anyway, it's gonna come up later that like maybe not being familiar with how like how exactly like dive is going to start a team fight, get 6-0 killed. He was just in a bad position trying to help teammates that were also in bad positions. But what's up,
Another
RSauce?
thing on dive. So me and Dreg have talked about dive with RSauce before, but that was before our current coach told us a lot about dive, and so we didn't give you guys wrong information, just not. So if you ever want me and Dreg to come back or me and Hollow to come back and talk more about dive as a whole, we definitely could do it a lot better than when it was just me and. So just throwing that out there.
Right. So anyway, again, not trying to keep things short I'm trying to keep things short because VODs tend to go on forever, and I'm trying not to do that to you guys. It's already been an hour and 15, so what I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to focus on 6-0 for this part. There's some mistakes I think you can fix right away. And duds, there's something that duds or dudes can fix right away. I mentioned earlier, RAR basically is doing this climbing up right here on the high ground to poke at the tanks. He knows that they can't burst him, so as long as he's got full health, he can chunk at them and farm up his dragon. So he's like nice little plays like that to help like build alt charge to support your team. Chunking out the dive tanks makes it harder for them to make a play. Yada yada. Anyway. So I'm gonna speed through here, but what we're gonna be looking for is duds on the McCree. And it's not gonna be until the later part of the point. Let me see. Just trading of vaults here, it goes back and forth. But we have spawn advantage, so it works out in our favor. Also, holy shit, fast speed dragon noise sounds really scary. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. Duds fucks up. Where is it? Oh yeah, you guys win this. No. Do you? I think so. Yeah. Okay. So you win this fight. Logan wastes his blade, but I think it's because he wants to swap. No, he doesn't want to swap, so he just wastes his blade. Shame. Anyway, so
Every time he was asking, like, do I stay on Gengi? He definitely, but he never got the okay to swap.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, we were playing together too. It's like I figured before. Well, it doesn't matter now. But anyway, I figured that Logan would just need to play a few scrims before he gets a feel for what he should or shouldn't do. Anyway, so Duds, are you here? DUDS. I'm not sure what your Discord name is.
It's Duds.
Duds? Okay.
Yeah, no duds.
Okay, so Duds isn't here, but oh, look at that. Some little arcane sign. Anyway, Duds on McCree. He's got one flashbang, right? So what does he have to defend against dive, right? He's literally got a roll that propels him like 5 meters. And he's got a and he's got one flashbang, right? One Facebook to protect him from dive. But that doesn't work if it gets stuffed by a diva, by a diva, or if it gets blocked by a shield. Basically, this is not enough of a kit to survive getting dove by 1, 2, 3 players, right? So you need to play, or like Duds needs to play with his team. Duds, if you're watching this in the recording afterwards, you need to play with your team, especially after you pop High Noon. There's no value you get from flanking right here. But what you're going to do is you're going to stand right here, and you're going to die. And what that causes is it causes Raz to peel, and he doesn't save you. And then it's going to cause 6-0 to peel. He wastes Fade. So this is what I'm talking about here. 6-0 wastes a very important cooldown to try and save Raz, to try to save you. And that's what triggers the actual dive. So it's a whole chain of events that start with one person being out of position. Because what it really means is, at a disadvantage, cooldowns and important abilities invested negatively don't like, or not getting a lot of value, and then seeing a vulnerable target who can't run away. That's how dive works, or that's how this dive worked. But that's how a lot of dives wind up being a thing. So anyway, Dez is gonna roam all the way out there, and he's gonna get dove, and he's gonna die. Yeah, he's like, I bet they can't scout me, but we're on the high ground, so we do. We are the Obi-Wan. We have the high ground. So we scout him, and Genji, and I forget who else comes after him, but let's see the exact thing here. Raz sees it, and he tries to help his teammate, but it's too late. 6-0 sees his teammate push, and he pushed. Oh, yeah, so this is what happens. 6-0 pushes forward. So now 6-0, your main source of healing, is in the middle of a massive clusterfuck. And this is bad. He's going to get chipped out by damage from the Winston. He's going to be forced to fade. And he's not in a good place where he can fade into cover that the monkey can't immediately follow up on. So he fades to right here, and that's what triggers the Winston dive, and that's what triggers the chain reaction to actually clean up this point. Dives right here. You can see it. Kills the Moira. We're up 2. And that's, at this point, this is when it's full commit. And it's just cleanup at this point. Anyway, my one disclaimer or one complaint is that Raz had grav and he could have used grav here, but it's whatever. You don't always get the cleanest opportunity. That's just like, that aside, like alt usage is like, that's just basically like something that has to be cleaned up before, instead of letting an alt fix the mistake. Anyway, I'm trying to remember, gosh, was there anything else? Oh yeah. So 6-0 dies, right? So 6-0 died. Just keep that in mind. He's been dead, and he's coming back from spawn soon for like a solid, what? Like, it's been 20 seconds total? Coming back from spawn room. And again, so you guys are kind of regrouping, figuring out what you want to do. Walk, 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 and bam, dead again. So 6-0 literally didn't get to play most of this third point. That's what I'm talking about here. Because some out of positions cause a dive, cause like a bad regroup, and like you guys are figuring out what you wanted to make a play to. And by that way, a dive comp that's, by the way, dive sucks on this last little push right here, got to push the card halfway. So dragon comes in. This dragon just winds up being big. I just used it to try and split up the tanks, but I wound up getting some kills out of it. That triggers the full dive. At this point, like, it's just whatever. But like, this starts with a stagger, an unlucky pick like that. It's like this is like, when you're talking about like a concept like of a snowball, it's kind of like a bad situation becomes worse. That's what we're talking about here. Raz never gets the chance to use his grav, combo it with 6-0's Cole, which is just a great combo. And I think oh yeah, actually he does, but he gets Hotel. I think we lose this. Yeah, okay. So only after we get all this way in, though. So basically, you have to win every fight now to hold. You are up in time bank, but like, ignore your fantastic time aside. Like, if the point was to just win the map or full hold, then you have to win every fight now. And so now, like, alt management, all that becomes a tricky treacherous slope. On a different note, though, Duds swap to the Mei. I like that heads-up swap. I think it was just great. For this point, it's just a good call. We stick on the dive, and I forget what cleans up what. I think, like, it's just, like, someone gets a lot of kills or whatever. But that was what I really want to talk about for this map. 6-0 and Duds. Just some unlucky positioning or some bad positioning and cooldown usage causing, like, troubles for your teammates. Anyway. Don't take it personally. Mistakes happen. If, like, literally, dude, like, I'm feeder number 1 on my team. You should have seen the number of times I wasted high noon. Or, not my team anymore. Anyway, I have to keep reminding myself. Shadow goes in, kills this and that. And, oh yeah, so this map actually, like a big ante comes in from AJ, and then the video ends early, so I'm not sure how things wound up, but I know we capped at the end, or whatever. Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, that's all I have for that map. I know despite everything I said, you guys did a fantastic job. Temple of Anubis is where we can really talk about yeah, Temple of Anubis. Let's start with attack. Attack or defense? Attack or defense. Let's start with defense so that you guys can see how you guys push. And then we can and then you can see how basically like a change of approach allows us to try to do the same thing, but it works out better. Anyway, before we continue, any questions? Any comments? No?
I'm enjoying the VOD review.
All right.
Thank you for doing this.
I actually have a
What's
question for so Temple of Anubis. I'll personally say is one of my worst played maps. Then again, all TCP is probably my worst game mode. But would you recommend on this map specifically doing brawler dive?
There's options to go either. But
yeah,
given that we
a
talked
lot
about
of times it'll depend on what the other enemy team is playing.
Mm-hmm.
even before considering the enemy team, I would say, but if like given like the circumstances of your team, if your team isn't comfortable with diving, then just keep experimenting with Brawl to find a way to make it work. You could try a sim teleporter. You could try like sending a ball into the back line to disrupt and boot people off while you have the Lucio speed everyone else in. You could have a Reaper do the same thing. Like just keep trying stuff until you find something that works.
Okay.
But if you want like an example of like how to try and make the Brawl comp work, we'll look at that when you guys are on defense and we're on attack. I have flamed my teammates, like probably the reason why I got kicked by my team, but I have flamed my teammates intensely because of how we dropped the ball on this fucking map too many times and like just stupid shit. Anyway, you'll see right here that like what we do is literally like you're gonna see us drop a wall right here and we're gonna wrap in and speed all the way up to here. And once we're in the high grounds, right here, that's where it really becomes awkward and difficult. I don't think you guys had an answer for that. That is all because we have done this map enough to like literally struggle. Like we've inted over and over and over again and gotten rolled by people. That's how we know. So anyway, just watch how we did it and try and mimic that, and you can learn from that. Otherwise,
Okay.
you have to struggle like we did, and you just get rolled by stupid spammy junkrats and other obnoxious shit. Like, just like the guy just like takes a hand off his keyboard and just points and clicks, just playing a point and click adventure, and not fun. Anyway, that aside, my recommendation is to just try stuff on the Brawl comp. If you guys have dive capabilities, then you can also give that a shot. But at that point, like, you know, like it's like Ball, Genji, Sombra, Winston, or Diva. It's tricky to learn in the first place, you know. So stick with the Brawl. Anyway, so let's see. You guys, oh yeah, we set up right here. I'm sorry for doing this to you, Scarecrow. I love this little spot right here for all of you guys. This is the best Junkrat spot ever where no one looks at this shadow. It just looks hidden from their perspective every time. It's like, that's how I get like half my ult charge from like just that spot. Anyway, so we want to spam you guys down. And I'm not sure like if you guys tab at 15 seconds to check, if that's like to check with us, but it's like, okay, Sans the Widow, like, ignore this. This is spam comp. Like we're gonna try and poke at you with this Junkrat and this Zarya until like we see a favorable position to push at you, or like you just have to retreat. So what winds up happening is this first team fight, we get like a great angle to push and spam. And again, a lot of this might have been ameliorated by having Lucio. Or mediated, whatever the word is. Mitigated. English. Yeah. So pay no attention to the Widow on this point. It's basically all the fight's going to happen right here in front of us. You guys are talking, saying, okay, let's go right, let's go right. And Zombie doesn't like that plan. Wait, no, not Zombie. Foods doesn't like that plan. He says, let's go left. Anyway, so everyone else goes left. And you guys are grouped up in here. This is precarious for you guys because with an Ana nade chucking in and Junkrat spamming the other door, it's not going to be easy to regroup with all that spam coming in. Raz maybe recognizes that and he pushes immediately out, but this is the trigger for our push right here. I actually just messaged the player probably responsible for getting me kicked off the team about this, and he said, yeah, I saw that Raz was out here and I saw that he was cornered in this little area, so I just went for the pin. It's unlucky that Scarecrow gets caught instead. Raz doesn't have, like, I hear him spamming it, but he doesn't have the chance to get the bubble on to Shark in time.
Yeah, I just got really unlucky that day when it came to charges. Yeah. I couldn't hit a charge, but I could get hit with everything.
And so at this point, like, this is just for educational purposes, but like, look at this little pocket right here. Okay. And this is like all like this stair just like, or these stairs just basically group any projectile damage or like any spam coming in. And look at where our Ana and our Junkrat are. Like, this is a dream for us.
So, like, the smallest little tip for Derp here is I don't know how much you know about Ryan, and I don't know how much time you had to react to Otel charging, if at all, but it doesn't matter which frame the animation is in. If you click shift and the Reinhardt is looking at you, then you stop his shift in general, or his charge. And in that, yeah, counterpins. In that, if Otel didn't get the charge off of you, and he got stopped instead, you guys would have won that. Because I'm over here, like, our team has no peel because me 1v1ing duds, and I don't know where our Widow is. So unless our Widow ends up getting 2 picks, you guys would have won that fight. Because Bean can's hop down, and he still has bubbles, but if you guys just all focus fire the Rhine, he dies, and then then it's just Bean and AJ. Easy picks.
Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, just talking about that. It's just like, it's one of those 50-50 plays, counterpin and all that. It's just something that comes from experience and it fixes itself, so don't worry about it. But I just want to point out that, like, getting stuck right here is something you should try to avoid. But again, you'll see on attack, or on our attack, Lucio helps ameliorate a lot of this. Anyway, that being said, so I think on this next push, you guys just get value. It works out just fine. Brazel's doing Brazel things. But we get split up and we make bad choices, and you guys stick together and you fucking just take the point easy. So yeah, so starts with the pick. I fuck up the tire.
Really nice jump shot.
So yeah, you get a pin, and now we're all split up. It's just not, you guys rally to the point. 2 tanks and a support, easy. That's all you need. So you take it back. Anyway, Rar does a great job swapping the tracer and cleaning up. You made some good plays there to help support that. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about is let's see, foods. No, okay. So this is a fat finger. I'm not sure why he did it, but like,
he was just like, oh fuck, I threw grab out, and
but we're gonna we're gonna talk about pathing here, because do we have the May? No. Okay, it's on defense that we have the May. Sorry, on attack we have the May. In this case, you guys have options about where you want to push, depending on what you want to make do. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, this fight, you guys trade shatters. Oops. But because we have spawn advantage, trading shatters is going to work in our favor every single time if like we trade kills, because we'll just be back to the point to defend it faster. Anyway, so I get exploded. I come back as Reaper. I shoot things. This is what I want to talk about. So in the meantime, all this shit is going on. You guys get split up, right? Genji over here. Oh, let me get a good angle on this. Okay. So Genji's over here, out of LSO heals, and he's getting double teamed. Probably gonna die. Ryan's over here, low health against another, like he's on low health against a Ryan with much more health. Probably gonna die. And you've got your Tracer doing Tracer things. She can sort out her own business. But now you've just got your two supports right here, right? So under these circumstances, it's like if I was the Brig looking at this, it was like they're probably gonna die. I can't help them because I'm dealing with this full charge Zarya, right? This is bad. I don't want to invest anything more. I just want to get out, right? So Genji dies, Ryan dies, and you pop Rally to go in, or Genji doesn't die yet, but you pop Rally to go in, and it basically gives a little bit of armor to Ana, a little bit of armor to Tracer, but you invest one of your best team push support ultimates when both of your tanks are dead or coming back from the spawn. So personally, I think this is a big mistake. Rally gives you a speed boost and lots of armor that just helps chunk out a ton of shit. So like, yeah, even though actually no, Bean Can doesn't have, like, we don't have any ultimates. So you just regroup quickly and you rally in. Like, what are we gonna fight you with? Beat? Like, it's like that's an even fight at that point. You have Nano, you have Pulse, you have Grav. You just stick us and you explode us. Whether like if we engage with Beat, you grab us afterwards. If we engage or if we grab and then you beat, like you still have like the mid fight to make a play. So anyway, I don't think this is a good grab, or sorry, a good rally, and it's just, you know, the way that you evaluate that is like, okay, who could my rally help? Mostly tanks. Are my tanks around? No, they're split or they're about to die. Not a good play. So save the rally for the next push. There's nothing wrong with banking your ults and then just blowing them all like in one big kitchen sink move to take 2 CP. It's 2 CP, right? You really have to be decisive with your ults to win a point. Anyway, that's not what happens, and this just goes on. At this point, you know, like you really, again, like you guys want to build like a good ult bank. You guys want to have the good ult economy. Inside joke. And then you basically want to make like a decisive, get a bunch of kills at once so that people aren't trickling onto point installing the objective, because that just makes 2 CP. And that's what people love, 2 CP. Anyway. So the fight comes back, and I forget what else happens. Oh yeah, Beat and Grab Dragons are traded and stuff like that. But it's just a struggle. And I think we full hold. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's all I want to talk about for this point. Or for this, or for the attack. I'm just letting it play through to see if there's anything else I can remember. You guys have Genji Blade, but Genji dies before he can use it. AJ gets 2 kills. Yeah. So anyway, on to defense. Unless anyone had any comments or questions. Okay. So on defense, I want you, or for this defense, guys, I want you to take into consideration exactly what we talked about like earlier in terms of pathing, in terms of having Lucio. I just want you to keep that firmly in your mind and watch, like, basically like use this as like a benchmark or example of how like you want to try and utilize Lucio to his fullest. This is exactly why Lucio can make or break a 2 CP point, because you know these chokes are not fun. Anyway, so you group up, got your break, got your Batiste. I respect the Batiste pick on this map. There's just lots of high ground to work with. Double snipers or one sniper and a sort of sniper. You do your thing. But we picked beforehand. We're gonna go right. So we all come together. We use wall to block some of the LOS for damage, or to bait you into thinking we're gonna go left. I'm not sure what Logan's logic was, but ideally he would put it here.
He was just blocking LOS, and then Bean Candid thought, "Oh wait, that left," and or that right or something.
Yep. So here's the idea again. Ryan puts his shield up to block any chance of a pick coming through from this damage. His 1600 damage barrier is enough to last if you've got Lucio to speed everyone through. We speed everyone through, and now we're in a good position on the high grounds, and it actually, for whatever reason, just pays off for me. I kill 5, and it just works out. It just works out. Because I think, like, in the situation, you guys just didn't have anything to contest the high ground, and so you just kind of had to wait on point for us to come to you. Now, Duds hit some fine-ass shots on both of our supports, but I wind up fragging back. We trade. Rar's in a good spot on the high ground right there, but I just kill him too. Like, honestly, like, I don't know what to say aside. Like, I think you guys handled that well. I just popped off. But, yeah, in a situation with the comp you had, there's not much you could do aside from try to hold it like you did. DPS popping off like that is just going to be a thing that happens. But keep in mind that kind of Lucio push is what you want to make. On to this point, so this is where a real pathing issue raises concern for me. Right away, Rar, I think like you can hold his position, but I think you did it for 1 to 2 seconds too long, and that makes things awkward for your team because you got a Lucio we got a Lucio that can boop you off. We've got Zarya bombs that could knock you off on by luck. And we've also got Hanzo that can push the high ground. Duds unfortunately doesn't get much value at this point, but that aside, like you're in a precarious position as soon as you fall down, and I know your coach gun is on cooldown, so it's not ideal for you right now. Anyway, I would say like you could spam this spot for a little bit, get a dynamite in, and then you back up to your team right here. Maybe play right here. You can pop up and you're around right here, like on the wall or something like that. Being out in front like this puts you a little too exposed for my taste.
I could explain why I'm here. So I asked our team and our tanks specifically if we could push up instead of just staying back, because I want to be up here, and even Duds is on the left. And this is another like scenario where us are base and we're gonna get forced off once you guys start pushing in. But for some reason our tanks are pushing back, and even Zombies tells the tanks like us are pushed up, we need to help. But
okay,
it's just
okay. So it was a call. It was a calm thing. Okay. So, if one of your teammates wants to push up like that, then you guys need to decide real quickly. Honestly, the easiest way to do that is you just have someone to make that call, and that's usually the main tank. In this case, it would be Derpy Shark. But if you guys are shuffling around main tanks, that might make things more difficult. Sorry. We always have Otel on main tank unless he can't make it. Then we usually pop a Logan or Bean in there. If one of you guys wants to push up, respect the call and just ask like the tank, like, do you want to push up or not? If he says no, then no. You can talk about it afterwards. If he says yes, then you push up and you find out what happens. I can see that call trying to be aggressive and all that. But at the same time, I still don't think this is a good idea because there is just spot after spot after spot. Let me just get this angle. There's just spot after spot after spot where maze walls can get maximum value. This corners off something. This corners off something. This corners off something, and this corners off something. These are just like concentric or sequential May wall points. And that's precisely what's going to happen is Brig or Ryan or one of the two, or maybe all of them are going to be pushed up. They're going to get walled off. They're going to get killed, and that's going to trigger the kind of the stall fight on point.
That's true, but like the May can't even get to the choke point. Trying to position, team is just pushing back. I know I get the May down to 1 here, and it's hard to finish her off because, like, of course, everyone's gonna help her out there and the shield. That's just what I want to point out. But I do agree with what you're saying.
So, let's assume that Derpy made the call to not push up originally, like even though there wasn't a call, let's just but judging by the way everyone's playing, they're all the same mind to stay back. Give it a shot next time. Try pushing forward, and and trust Roar on his on his intent to be aggressive. I say you should give them the benefit of the doubt based solely on the fact that you guys, like I said earlier, play best when Roar is on a position on the high ground to pick apart the enemy team. Anyway, so this is something to consider next time. yeah, like just trust your teammate. Go for a play. Who cares if you lose a map? It's just like it's whatever. It's scrims. It's like that's why you play. So you find out. Anyway, what happens instead? Maywall comes in, causes some stuff. I love the positioning here on Foods. Great use of the high ground as a Batiste. Just a lot easier to heal from elevated place like that. You play sort of safe from the Hanzo arrows. But yeah, it's a good spot. So let's see. Yeah, Zombie I think is I'm assuming this is one of those issues where like he thinks his tanks are right behind him, but this is precarious. Yeah, you don't want to be this far. Again, like unless there's a very clear prerogative to push into their faces, then you don't want to be like you don't want to be in positions on me where you can't see any of your teammates in front of you as Brig. Brig makes her tank stronger and she plays great with tanks, but she can't be the front line of the front line. If that makes
Like,
sense.
The
I
reason
think
why
what happened was RAR was still really calling for us to go aggressive and to back him up. And I didn't want him to die, so I armored him and I went forward, and I just thought we were all going forward to help him.
Yep. Happens a lot, right? It's so I mean, honestly, this might be a great opportunity. You might actually just try this strat next time, and like everyone's pushed up here, like the Ryan's already here. Suddenly we've got like a Ashe spamming on him from behind. Like Hotel's gonna flip out. He's like, "Where the fuck do I put my shield? Like I don't know what to do." Like you send the Hanzo to contest the Ashe, and I lose the duel against Roar. Then you guys are in a really great position, you know?
Well, it is pretty obvious who we're sending to go deal with the Ashe.
I know it's Brazel, and he's gonna try and beat you down. So I mean, at this point, Roar may be able to get out just using a coach gun, or he could at least, you know, he could probably get Immo Field or something like that. Oh, talk about Immo Field in a sec. Anyway, so yeah, it's all a reflection of trying to push up, and it's just a awkward position. Ryan does push up. Logan, I'm not sure why Logan hasn't used wall yet. I just think it wasn't presence of mind to him. But he finally gets the wall up somewhere. No, he doesn't actually at all. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that is like a precarious place, and if it was someone else, if it was me, I would have walled that 100% of the time and gotten some value. Anyway, this Immo Field, I think like, well, there might have been a person to save that was out here because I know Ryan died somewhere around here. I still feel like it'd be like, it's like look to get it closer to right here because it's like this spot is not somewhere you can hold from. So you're gonna be walking through this area. So the Immo Field is definitely not gonna get value. Like it's gonna get spammed out, but it's also just gonna get walked out of. So if there's a way to like
Yeah.
toss it so it lands right here, or ideally,
Yeah, it can't. It's in the open, and a lot of times people aren't going to be sitting there.
It's not in a corner.
Always make sure that you like if general rule of thumb, try to throw it along like on this point specifically. It would be one of the pillars to where the enemy can't see it, but it still has LOS for both your tanks or wherever it is. Just yeah, tiny thing with Baptiste immortality.
Yep. So at that point, it's just a team fight. It explodes up, and you know that's it. The map ends early. Anyway, so it's been about almost 2 hours now, and I know it's not easy to stay like focused and paying attention to all and stuff like that. So I can keep on going. I can also just record it, like Rudy has been recording this right now. It's really up to you guys if you want to take a break and come back, or if you just want to call it here. I'm not going to force you to stick around. I know it's not easy to stay reset at this point. Who wants to go to a fucking 4-hour lecture? I don't know why colleges even try that. Anyway, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to be doing the Route 66 next. Does anyone want to just take like a short break before we continue, or do I just keep on chugging along? What's up, guys?
I'm fine with keeping on.
I can keep going if anyone else needs to take a break.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, cool. So let me just check on the notes. Oh yeah. So yeah, like I talked about on that first point defense, when I killed 5, it's like your DPS dudes and Roar, like your positioning was good. You know, like you're in a place where we couldn't contest you. At the same time, it's like against a Hanzo, like you both know it's like it's difficult to stand down, open a Hanzo and last long if he's hitting your shots because you know you can just there's always that dink potential. So just like keep that in mind. Like it's like if there was a way to set up so you could shoot behind his shield, then like you put yourself in like an advantage. Just like small things to upgrade. That point was honestly just a DPS duel. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to talk about for that. Okay, so Route 66. all the shit came together on Route 66, and like I feel like on this map, this is a great map for both teams. This is where I really got to feel just how strong you guys are, because Rar put himself in position again and again and again to fight on the high ground, and he made Ash look broken. So good shit on your part, Rar.
Thank you.
If for you guys in the future, like just keep this in mind. Like, I know I'm singing praises for Rar because he's the one that winds up his name on the kill feed, but he's only able to do what he did because the tanks are buying time, the supports are playing safe, the other DPS is taking space or causing problems. Like, you all did things in your own way to prop up the guy that gets his name in the kill feed. So again, the more that you can do that for the player that hits the shots as opposed to the player that dishes out damage, that like your team is going to get insanely strong, like knowing how to prop up your teammate. Anyway, that being said, right away I would say I'm not sure what the Junkrat play is. If we're going to go dive, I don't feel like there's many things for the Junkrat to go after. And on this point, like, I know Griffin isn't here, but on your defense, your Junkrat really doesn't do anything except exist until third point, when we're basically forced to swap off dive, because it's just the nature of the point. But Junkrat against the dive is really hard. If you went Torb here, you got this whole map might have went completely different, because Torb just shits on dive. It's just like if the turret is just uncontested, it just causes massive problems. Anyway, I wouldn't say he shits on dive, but you get the idea. The thing is that it's a lot harder for Junkrat to hit value when people are flying above him, around him, stuff like that. Anyway, 6-0, fantastic fucking sleep. Set up with the dynamite and you kill Hotel early. Great job. I flank like 10 seconds later and I get slept, and the same thing happens because I just don't fucking learn. But yeah, there was some great sleeps to help prop up your defense initially for this. Our team loves to dive in this map, so that's why we ran this.
Actually, I want to just say something here.
What's up?
This issue I have here is our main tank goes for a charge after 6-0 sleeps. Like, all of us are there and we could kill her. Why he has to give up all that position and space to just charge back when I could pretty much one shot.
It's true.
That's true. I can. For the case I'll make for myself was that I didn't think about that at that time, and I thought that I didn't know how long ago the slip was, because usually we do get late calls from supports.
Okay.
Of course, it's just one of those things, like it has to happen once or twice before, what to try to do differently next time.
So
as it stands, I'm more worried about Derpy Shark, where he is right now. This is a little precarious, my friend.
One thing about Ana sleeps, so this is specifically for 6 because he's the Ana in this case. If you get a sleep, all you have to do in chat is say, like, Sombra asleep, half HP. And then that should call it to where your Ashe will come over, and if they aren't at half HP, all you say is, Sombra asleep behind, your Ashe comes over, and then you go 3, 2, 1, you throw your Ashe headshots, all you have to do is melee. Or primary melee. They're dead. Doesn't matter what 200 HP target, they will die.
If the junk is there, he can put a mine down first, and he can chuck a nade, and then he can just detonate them simultaneously with the anti-nade or with whatever. Like, you got lots of burst options to kill me before I can try.
If you really want to be sadistic, you could just throw, like, Dark Griffin could just throw a trap there, and then that's another 3 seconds, 5 seconds or something, that Hollow just can't move.
Pretty much.
So, you have options other than charging. It should never be a Reinhardt's job to finish off a slept target, unless it's another tank, maybe. And that 300 burst damage would be super helpful. But that's just all I need to say on that.
Anyway, so the real question is, why is Derpy over here surrounded by 4 enemies? So he's on the low ground, sees Jabo, goes for the boop. Boop doesn't work. So I respect this play, and I think it's a good heads-up play, especially with boosters on such a small cooldown, except for the fact that we're running dive characters. So anything that's out of position, even if it was old 3-second boosters diva, can get immediately converged upon. It didn't help that literally Ball was right around the corner, you didn't see him. But anyway, like, it's like, while I do think it's a great play to go on, it's under the circumstances that you know that they can't collapse on you within 3 seconds. They do, and you either get chunked or booped out. Yeah. And that's why, and that puts you guys down a teammate in the fight. Like, I know I'm dead, but like, now you don't have a damage mitigator for the dive. So anything that the tanks decide to pick up, or to any damage that the tanks decide to throw at, is either blocked by the shield or it's going through. And I think that's what gets your Junkrat killed. No, Moira first. Yep. Not regrouped here because of the, I guess because of the Sombra. But anyway, things start to come apart once you guys start to do different things and not talk about it. That's exactly what Dive wants to happen, is mixed agendas. Anyway, I won't prattle on about it. I've already talked about it enough. Junk's gonna die in like 30, 40 seconds again because, you know, he's a dive target. Nice boob. Mixed agendas. Ryan's on point by himself. He's hacked. I like the ball pushes everyone else away, so basically we can keep diving and isolating targets. That's what we're trying to do here. Bob comes in, he gets slept, he gets hacked. Poor Bob. Anyway, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else from this. Let me see. For attack or defense. Oh yeah, so the real issues start right here. So Ryan dies, and Ryan's coming back, and everyone else is grouped up and primed and ready to grow, but you kind of need that Ryan to push on. So fundamentally, guys, the idea of defense isn't just to kill the enemy team and hold the cart. Like, that's ideal, but like basically on defense, you want to force as many defensive fights as possible to slow the cart progress, so that in the event that you don't actually, decisively hold any one part of the map, that you burn out the team's time bank. That's how you're going to win games. That being said, in the situation you don't have your main tank, but you can still, what the fuck is up with Bob? Anyway, you can still push the cart and just take a quick team fight on here to reset things. I wouldn't recommend it. What ends up happening is we're kind of caught in no man's land, kind of split between deciding whether we want to push or not. And that just winds up feeding us ult charge while also not stalling the cart for very long. So only now is Ryan back in the fight. At this point, only D.Va's on cart. We kill the D.Va. We get, it's a mess. So you guys are staggered. The fight's inevitable. So you do get a stall out of it. That works out. But I would disagree with this solely because if you have such a spammy brawl comp, you just push into this little area right here and you hold this area. Now, I know Logan has Blade and it might be troublesome, but you have Cole, you have a trap, you have spam. It could be a 50-50 and you might just be able to literally chunk out the Genji before he has a chance to even swing his Blade. Anyway, so if it was me, if I had the do-over, I would say, give him the point. Let's regroup right here and we take a fight super close. We have these tunnels in the mega area over here to back off to. You just stick with your Rhine. It's something to think about because the alternative is now you don't get that first hold on second point, and that kind of sets a tone for not ever really getting a proper fight on this map. You guys are going to get staggered, players are going to get dove, and it's only on the third point do we start to see some rallying being made. Junk is going to get dove and he's going to die in like 23 seconds here. No, in like 10 seconds. There he goes. So again, staggers coming in. Because the cart's being pushed and you're waiting for your guy to come back, now the divers have the high ground, and like you have to push out this little area. Like if you're alt tracking, that we've got EMP, we've got Blade. It's not fun. Like you don't have any space to work with. Like you have to fight just to take space to defend before you can actually do the defending. So anyway, it's just a rough second point. Kind of like a do-over of the Hollywood map, but swapped roles. This map favors dive a lot more than brawl. at least this part of it. Jabo forgets to push the cart. A lucky anti, I think, comes in at some point here. Hack called and focus down. Yep, anti comes in on Brig. That's big. EMP follows up. So again, never really a chance to even touch the cart, right? So it's like, I can tell you that Renaissance time and time again got staggered over and over on Streets phase of Kings Row. Like, we know what it's like to get staggered and basically just jump straight from first to third point. So the importance is to regroup and just pick like some ults and say, we're going to do this. And you go in, you die, or you win together. It's just, it doesn't matter if you die. You take a fight, you slow the cart by 20 seconds. That's value. Streets phase is always the most difficult to defend. Anyway, so now we jump in here. Now you guys really start to show like your strengths with this comp. Rar's on the McCree. He's gonna get value. Dive is just not gonna work here. We keep trying to force it. Was there anything else? For defense. Oh yeah. Okay. So you guys do a good job defending here. I'm gonna jump a little bit ahead to when the fight is all the way towards its very end. Okay, so we're gonna get the contest here, and Griffin is gonna come up with his tire. So again, Griffin, if you watch this afterwards, like you finally get your chance to shine on third point, but I think you picked the wrong target for your tire here. So the stall comes in. You honestly, if this tire gets anyone, this fight turns around, and we might have been. You got with just spawn advantage alone, you guys might have been. But you pop your tire and you send it at our Rhine. Now, just keep in mind, we have Zari right here, and you haven't had a chance to track her bubbles, so she kind of is safe from the tire. Ryan has a shield, so unless you put it literally inside of his body past his shield, he won't die. So tiring the Ryan is also tricky. He's at full health and he's beated. He can comfortably focus on you. So in this situation, tanks are primed, ready to go. Who is the best tire target? We've got a DPS with a get out of jail free card. Again, haven't tracked his abilities, so you got to assume he has it. Your targets are the supports. Okay. So the beat is going to die out in a couple seconds. You have 2 immobile and no get out of jail free card supports that you can go after. If you get both, the fight's won. We have no supports. You guys have spawn advantage. We'll lose this. But you send it after the Rhine, it doesn't work out, and so we lose the point. I mean, like, even with all this health, yeah, like, with just the armor, I'm not sure. Yeah, Ryan probably would still die. But anyway, the point is that you aim for that Ana or you find that Lucio, and then your team actually has a pretty good advantage, but it doesn't get anyone. You rush it right in, you don't get anyone. Honestly, like, you sent, like, if you see where Brazel is, like, you could have just bombed him right here. Like, I know it's hindsight, but, like, you must have seen him as you went by. If not, like, the position is precarious, but, like, don't be afraid to take a couple seconds to just pop the tire right here. So it's just chilling right here, right? It's just sticking against the wall. You're just waiting for things to develop. Maybe people are going to rotate. Maybe Bean's going to panic and he's going to waste his bubble early. You have third person, so you can spot it, and then you push in, right? Otherwise, you spot the Ana. You just wire that tower around right here, and you go at her because there's nothing but a Reaper to break it. It's like you have good chances of getting somebody here, but you chase the big kill and you go for the Rhine. Oops. And it doesn't work out. That's all. Anyway, so I think that's it for the defense. Oops. And tire doesn't work out when we get the cap. Mars does a really good job stalling, gets a stick. Nice job. It was unfortunately too little too late. Everyone was dead. If that honestly, like, if that death on the Ana happens 10 seconds earlier, it might have been your guys' fight. Anyway, on to your guys' attack. Okay, so this is Rar's heyday. He's gonna have a hell of a time. He clears everyone off on this close hold. He clears everyone off again later on. You guys playing safe and being able to force the tanks and the DPS's attention buys RAR enough time to do what Ashe does. Looking like the goddamn cinematic, man. Anyway, so let's speed up a little bit. We decided to hold close because the logic is you hold close, you all fight together, you all die together on the cart, you come back and you can all just drop down again or fight here at the gas station. We get so basically we get an extra team fight. If we win the first fight here, then huge. Now we're alt banking so that when we actually do lose and regroup, again, we have alts to take a second fight here-ish, somewhere around there. It doesn't work out like that, but that's the logic. Anyway, I respect. I'm not sure if Derpy, did you go road because you scouted the close hold?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I like the logic. In this situation, when a team is close holding, you guys can. It's totally acceptable to swap to things like Hanzo or Junkrat, Doomfist, Roadhog, things that can go in and trade, get a pick, because you have you have definitive spawn advantage here. You force a kill, turn the team fight in your favor, regroup 5 seconds later, takes them like 30 seconds to regroup with whatever player they traded for, and you guys just make a push. So again, good heads of play with the road. Being able to trade for a pick as that is huge. It's just unfortunate. You go on the solo flank right here, no one's able to help you out. You get stunned, antied, and pinned, and fun time. But eventually, you guys buy enough space for RAR to just post up right here, and he just has a shooting gallery. Anyway, that and also he hits a fat dynamite that I think kills me and someone else. I don't know. Basically, it takes a little time, but you guys regroup and you dismantle the close hold. Brazel's super low, unlucky. On those 50-50s, he could have died there. That could have put us in a bad spot easily. Nice fire strike, bro. Sorry, dude. Couldn't have come. Anyway, you gotta let him know. Fuck that train. I was super pissed I didn't hit that. I felt like I should have got that shot on RAR. Anyway, so you guys are taking a nice flank now. You missed the hook. Get the unfortunate boop.
That right there. Boop is a 4-second cooldown. Like, if I go for it once, I'm going to be going for it again. That's the case with any Lucio. Doesn't matter if they're Reddit or not.
Yeah.
Because I did go for one, that should have immediately made you think, okay, time to go back to where my team is. Just because then you would have been there to help with them. They still might have all died, but just food for thought.
Right. Okay. So it occurs to me now to point out again, oops. I've been talking time and time again about how the team plays well when RAR has a position to post up and take shots. Like multiple shots, at least for a character like Ashe or Hanzo that likes high ground. So Derpy Shark makes a good gutsy call to push for a flank with the hog, get a pick, trade it out. Good job. Doesn't work out. So I mean, again, that's just the way things goes. But an alternative thought here, dude, is you push left, and Hog being the zoning character that he is in terms of people have to play afraid of and out of range of, or careful around his hook. You take this space right here, or you even push the high ground all the way. There's not much we can do. Ryan's gonna be right here, and I suppose he could chase you, but you can drop down and you can cycle around. The idea is, let me clear this out. You decided to occupy this side of the map and got booped off. That's just what happens. If you decide to occupy this side of the map, then suddenly we can't as easily contest an Ashe that decides to coach gun onto the high ground. So when I'm talking earlier about finding ways to set up your DPS to make plays, that could be one of them. So as a tank, just with literally a zoning area for just being your lethality as a Roadhog, you go right here, you take this space, enables the Ashe to maybe post up here, or here, as she eventually does, and that opens up the team fight. So if you're looking for an example, this is it of how to like set up your DPS while also looking for those meaty hooks and picks, because you never know. Alternatively, this is also a really stupid idea, but if you pin into Otel, he'll probably counterpin. And if you're just peeking right here, you'll just be like, yoink, and you just pull him into you. Because he'll be lying on the ground. Unless his Zarya bubble protects him, it's a possibility, but like, just food for thought. Ways so you can force trades and picks. Anyway, so I got a little carried away. What I really want to talk about for this is, okay, so there's the grav. Yeah, so it was just one grav or one issue. Derpy makes a grav that I think he wanted back. I'll just speed through this. Just take note of Rar. He's gonna get posted up on this high ground. He's gonna get some kills. See, Dynamite comes in, damage comes in. Anna, I died to Roar. Jabo dies to Roar. Logan dies to Roar. At that point, it's cleanup. Right? Like, at this point, we know we gotta back off. Like, fuck, they pop cool, that's it. Anyway. Okay, so a grav comes in. Now we're just trading out and shit is happening. But, honestly, like, that fight might just be inevitable. You don't have a big defensive ult to save you, so they're gonna use grav, get some kills, whatever. Go next. Let's see, is there anything else? Are on the high ground again. Bob! Bob! Bob goes in. Tyre goes in. Unfortunate. Really close to getting a kill, but doesn't. I hit a shot on it. J-Boy hits a shot on it. That's just like a 50-50. But you guys win anyway because you take lots of space. Ash frags out. Junk gets a kill. So you eventually dismantled the close hold strat and you guys did a good job. So now we're like, fuck, we gotta back up here. For some reason, we're gonna be stupid and we're just gonna let you walk the cart all the way to here. Rar is gonna do his coach gun thing. And he's gonna do his shooty thing right here, and we're just gonna get dismantled again. Also, I love Scarecrow. He's just, the steadfast, like literally just chilling, just standing still.
Bleh.
The immovable object. So yeah, I fucked up, or Logan and I fucked up. We didn't think about how to hold high ground. We were not picking up on the fact that Roar was dominating through high ground usage. So easy coach gun, frags Logan. He dies because he gets the extra chip damage in, and Jabo doesn't see him in time to save him. You get both of us. That's just, like that's it at that point. I think you get 3. Like I said, Rar gets in a position on the high ground uncontested. Fucking slap some kids.
Thanks. Yeah, I mentioned that to the team before. I like off angles.
Yep. It all starts with your team being like a solid core that buys time for you to, set up on those angles because it's not immediate. Anyway, so I think, yeah. So Derpy's got his grav. We've got a grav dragon. I think that's what we're talking about using here. That's what our first fight is like. Let's use the grav dragon. Use it. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna use it, and I think Derpy Shark wants this grab back because he throws it late, and it's already like you guys don't have a defensive ult to save you, so you just gotta let the grab dragon happen and regroup. Bab. Heinun does his thingy. I hate the junk. Okay, so it must be a little bit later then. Yeah, you guys retake. Must be what it is. I died a roar. I'm pissed. So, wait for it. Yeah, right there. So you also throw your dragon in. Or sorry, you also throw your grav in. But the problem is that this dragon is just going to wipe everybody before anyone has a chance to follow up on it. So yeah. Again, so this is what I talked about at the beginning, that the team, what I can work on is pathing, trying to utilize a Lucio more, comboing your ults, and like why I said that ult combos tie in with ult planning. Basically before every fight or after every fight, before every fight, you guys talk about, okay, we're gonna use these ults, but it doesn't stop there. You say, what ults do they have? And you say, I think they have this. I know they have that. Okay, then you plan around those fights. Because if you ult track and like if you're ult tracking, you know after 2 points that we have a grab and a dragon farmed up and ready to go. So you know that we're gonna use it. And if one look at your support duo and you say, there's no way we can survive that. Whoever gets caught in that grab dragon is a goner. Like you don't have a DM to block it. You don't have a trance to save it. So you say, okay, we go in, we force the grab dragon, die quickly or get out quickly, and we regroup. Instead, you lose a big tank ult. It happens. Anyway. So that's what I'm talking about. Like this is something that ult planning solves. It's not just like, oh, it was a bad dragon. It's if you plan before, it solves itself. Anyway, does that make sense, Derpy?
Yes.
And it's not just on you. This is a team thing as well. Everyone supports each other by ult tracking. You like the DPS could track the Hanzo ult. The tanks could track the tank ults and so on.
I try to track tank ults as I can, but I still have like weird timing on Zarya.
Yep. If it's like I just use a rule of thumb, it's like, okay, it's been at least a minute since the last time I saw they either use their ult. I'm gonna assume they have it, unless I know that that person has been dying repeatedly. I'm just gonna assume that they farmed up their ult with with a minute and half a second. If it's someone like a Moira or a Tracer or a Batiste, people that farm their ult super fast, you have to assume that they have their ult after a single minute.
Okay.
They gotta. There's no way they don't, unless they've
Wait.
been picked over and over again. Anyway.
Or they have the tag AKM.
Yes, unless they're AKM and they're not playing Widow, then you gotta assume that they are farming the ult. Oh, they farmed it. Anyway, so that's that. That's the last of it. You guys do full cap, I think. I forget. Yeah, you do. I just get wasted over and over again. We are not contesting Roar on this high ground. He dies there, just as I say it, but still, like, that's the exception to the rule. Roar just gets tons of value setting up on this bus, setting up on this high ground right here, and that's exactly what we don't want to happen. You're gonna see. I'm gonna tell you, like, or I'm gonna show you an example in just a little bit as you guys get to push the cart further. Exactly, like one way you guys can help set up like your range DPS to put them in a high ground position. I died to a stupid ass orb after taking some damage from Roar. I am angry. So we beat and we go fight in, but Tyre gets somebody. Tyre gets 2. Good cleanup. Now, so this is where the fight gets a little weird, but at the same time, it's kind of like a mixed thing. Your DPS, your tank is gonna come back, and honestly, Derpy and Scarecrow, their whole fight, their whole thing is just gonna be right here. Like that's where, okay, well, let's not do that shape. But anyway, the point is that they're taking, like, all of their activities are going to be taking place on the low ground right here. Okay. Meanwhile, the DPS together, interestingly enough, push the high ground against solo against a soldier. I'm no Gale. I'm no DeFran. I can't take the 1v2 and win. So I get forced off here. That means that now you have a spammer and a ranged and a ranger essentially being able to frag out from the high ground. This is good. This is huge. Like basically, like even if you sent your brig or somebody to help back them up or anything like that, this is big for them because now like they're in primo position to frag out on our team from right here. Basically, in this last fight, you guys may or may not want to be thinking about how you can get your DPS set up right here. Because as soon as you do that, your team is way stronger. Shooting over shields into the back line, spamming this and that. It's not a fun time for the defense. Anyway, so again, an example of how you guys can help enable your DPS to be in the best position to frag out. Like you send it, they go together. You could also send a support with them. They push and force out anyone on this side of the map so that they can occupy it. Anyway, so I'll just speed it through. What's up? Scarecrow back in the fight. Let's go. Pop that rally. So now the brawl's begun. This is a really advantageous position for you guys. Brazel spots the Junkrat, and he decides to contest the high ground. So
Yep.
Griffin wins the duel, and I think you guys full cap at that point. Anyway. But so again, I talked about these examples at the beginning about ult planning, pathing, using Lucio, and does it make sense now with these examples I'm trying to cite?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me now.
Okay, good. It's the whole style of what I'm trying to preach with this VOD review. Okay. Thank you guys for sticking it out to the very end. I know it's been long as fuck. We've got one more map to do. You guys are go.
Very helpful.
Let's see. So I think
2-hour VOD.
2.5 at this point. I think City Center was where a lot of stuff happened. And then we'll talk about University next. Yeah, City Center. The first time I finally see a Lucio. So Amigos Lucio. And you see some changes right away with how basically how you guys able to move around. But you want to say something? Someone setting up their mic to comment. Let me see. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll just run it out. So both teams hauling butt to over here, and the whole fight takes place off a point. Interestingly enough, my problem with this is that you guys run my problem is you guys run the brawl comp. It's not a bad comp. I don't understand the Junkrat. I'm assuming you guys didn't expect us to play dive, but I don't understand staying on the Junkrat. That being said, the real problem here it's not about the DPS, it's about the tanks, specifically bubble usage. So what we're going to look at here is in a brawl or not in a brawl. You got characters that can basically they have get out of the jail free cards again. It's not as perfect as a Reaper or a Tracer, but anything that Junk doesn't like, he can conk mine out of. So he pushes right here and he's going to walk right here. He's going to take a little bit of damage, but he's not going to keep walking into the enemy team. So there's no reason to bubble him. Derpy Shark's going to bubble him. He doesn't have the bubble for his Rhine, who really needs it. Literally 2 seconds later, he needs it bad. Anyway, you'll see what happens. I'm going to put it in halftime. So bubble comes up. You get about 15 charge from the Junk because of that. Now you've used both bubbles. Logan's on the flank. Now we're starting to pincer you. Literally 2 seconds after you pop that bubble onto Junk, Scarecrow's already almost dead. A second later, he is. Because the Tracer's on the flank helping clean up. So this is one of the situations where, like, brawl or no brawl, like, you can assume that you're going to get your charge from bubbling your Rhine. But there's really not many cases for not bubbling your Rhine aside from saving a teammate. And Junkrat was relatively safe. If he dies there, that's on him. At the end of the day, he shouldn't be peeking in front of the Rhine shield to potential pick characters. We didn't have any aside from the J-Bow. That's just unfortunate if that happens to Junkrat. In this case, does that make sense, Derpy?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming you just bubbled the Junkrat because you felt like he was going in.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So anyway, at this point, even without that happening, more problems start to ensue because you guys split push. Let's say Ryan gets the bubble right here, and you have the bubble to save him. So the Ryan is alive. Zarya is alive. The tanks are down here, looking like a potato inside a potato. Who is this again? This is your guys' Junkrat? Yeah, this is your Junkrat. Okay. Doesn't look like a Junkrat, but anyway. Your DPS and your supports are high ground without your tank. So there was clearly some miscommunication about whether you guys wanted to take the lift or not. or something shifted midway through that caused the tanks to not take the lift. But whatever happens, you got to go together. Like if the tanks don't take the lift, supports don't take the lift, unless you're trying to get out of there. But still, like being split like this against a dive comp is exactly what we want. So it puts your team off on the bad foot right away on this map. And you know how control maps can be. It's like 2 to 3 team fights sometimes. So get behind the ult economy and the round could be over before you know it. Anyway. So I think Hotel does die here. He gets out. Okay. But still, we're up 2. It's just clean up at this point. Up 3. 4. Now, rough first fight, whatever. You guys shake it off like champs and you guys come right back. I was actually surprised by what you did, and it worked, like looking at it now, and it worked out great. So I'm actually curious, what were you guys talking about now that you guys were coming back? Like, shit, they have dive.
Pretty much what the comms were. I think it was 6 who pointed out that we probably should be like on one side, the side away from the dive, and I'm like, and I immediately thought like, okay, they're gonna want to try to contest that like high ground, considering that they have a soldier who can be up there. So immediately I started like telling everyone, okay, stay on the opposite pillar of where soldier is to where
Right.
yeah, that
Take this
opposite
spot area.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Perfect. Because that's exactly what you did. And I looked at it and was just like, you know, out of like the 2 options that I could really think of, this one seems like the better. And you guys just went straight for it. No hesitation, no no loitering. It was perfect. And you guys contested point. You got a kill, and from there you capped. My first thought was, well, shit, they have a soldier and Zen and a brig on the high ground. Let's just push high ground and force them off. But you guys said, you basically said without having, like, without knowing, like, nah, we're just gonna take the point. Like, the fuck are you guys gonna do?
Yeah, pretty much it was like their dive. If they come to us, we have the advantage because we're grouped together. Because that's the thing. Because that's the thing. Dive has to like pick apart people. Just like it's really hard for me to run.
Précisément. That's exactly right. And so you guys played smart. You played safe. You played grouped up aside. Well, I mean, Rar's going for, he's making his play, but he's safe. Considering that we don't know where he is. I think a little bit earlier, Rar was doing some little thingy right here. I was just like, bruh, if we saw you, you would have died. But you didn't, or we didn't, so you didn't, so it's fine. So again, Hotel gets caught. I think he either didn't have jump or he just overextended and didn't react in time. So like you said, came to you. You clean up the point clean. Turns out well. I understand the high noon and the coal wanting to clear up the point quickly. No complaints there. At first I was like, oh, waste of an ult, but nah. You farm up those ults so fast, understandable. This is a fuck up on AJ and my part. We let the point be capped, and we stagger super late afterwards. This is just bad. Just really bad on our part. Anyway, so you clean it up nice. And you're basically going to be at like 40% before we even have like a chance to take you're basically guaranteed to match the score we got at this. So what happens next? Holding out the stairs in the high ground. They scout you on the high ground. Winston goes for the dive.
Yeah, I think once they called the dive, I called for everyone to like go back and huddle up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So here's the first problem. 6, are you here in the chat?
6 left.
Okay. So that's unfortunate because I had immediate concerns about what 6 was thinking when this happened. I come up on the high ground once Winston secured it, and I immediately just pop high noon. And 6, like I know, like I'm pretty sure everyone on our team was aware of where I was and what I was trying to do. 6 walks, I'm assuming he thinks out of LOS, and I spam him down and he dies, and he has Wraith. Let me go right here. So right here, he dies with Wraith. So 6, if you're watching this afterwards, like, I don't know, you might have been distracted, you might have been calming, but like your first priority as a support once an enemy pops like a ult like that on the high ground is like you either get somewhere that's safe or you fade to somewhere that's safe. But you can't just die here with fade. I know you're better than that. Like, you should have escaped. Anyway. To change the angle and look back, you could have faded anywhere. Considering that you guys were like a brawly comp, what you could have did is you could have just, again, like what you did earlier, you could have just backed off to right here, regrouped, retook, right? You could have backed off to right here. Morba could have faded into here or faded out of LOS to be safe. But you guys had options. Instead, it's just unfortunate you died. And so that triggers our retake again. The fight once again goes back and forth. Okay. Unfortunate stagger is going to happen on Dark Griffin right here. This might work in like gold and below lobbies, but yeah, you better expect people to chase you down. You better get either you die on point or you get the fuck out, but you don't want to stagger like that. Minor point, but if y'all were a master team, I'd be yelling at him for it. Like, why'd you doing that? Why are you doing that, bruh? Bruh. Logan just eats the damage. Okay. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Oh yeah. So you guys pushed. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Derpy Shark. Yeah. So where was that? Right here. Okay. So in the meantime, so what's happening right here right now, right? What we just talked about. Winston's gonna push right here. He's gonna loiter around. He's gonna dive onto the high ground. He's gonna force you guys off. Soldier's gonna come up on the high ground, and he's gonna do his shooty thingy, right? He's gonna pop that visor. That's a visor. That's a visor. Anyway, so he's gonna shoot the thingy from up here. And that stuff is happening. In the meantime, I want to talk about where Derpy was, because Derpy roamed away from his team, and that didn't help his team. That didn't help you guys in the team fight at all. So let's see here. Yeah, I remember what it is. You throw a grav, and you can't fall, and you're by yourself when you go after this grav. Yeah, so you're already pretty split right here, and you're gonna chuck a grav, and you're gonna get 2 people plus the trancing Zen. So technically 3, but technically 2 minus the Zen, like minus trance, which makes it 0. So whatever, Overwatch math. Anyway, you're gonna grav right here, but by yourself, especially against a trance, like you're not gonna be able to spam them down by yourself. So again, I'm assuming this is one of those issues where you thought your team was behind you, and they weren't. I'm also going to assume that like the grab was communicated, but it wasn't exactly planned where you were going to grab, who follow up on. Functionally, I think it would be like, okay, so all right, team, what else are we going to use this fight? We're going to use grab, right? Okay, where? Probably at a choke or somewhere that we know that we're going to come on. Who? Someone that can't get away, right? So people that can't get away from the grab is, well, in this case, functionally any of these targets, but they probably have trance. So whatever we catch in the grav, like I'll just put this right here, anyone, right? And what do we do is, I suppose we could just call this what we focus. Trance is powerful and it can stuff a lot of damage, but it's not perfect. You can focus fire down a target. You aim for some headshots. You all spam the same target. You pin. Ryan can pin into the target. You can get that kill. So even though there's trance, even though there's trance countering the grab, you can still make it work. But to do that, you have to communicate. You have to plan and say, okay, so we're going to grab anyone on some place where we know that like they're going to be close enough that we can follow up on. And we're going to speed in, right? Swap to speed so we can get in there and max out that grav. We can try and pin, or if we're Junkrat, I can go in and I can toss down a trap, get in my mines. I can even jihad and just full explode on them so that my martyrdom kills them. Like, go in there with that full plan, right? Pick a target and call it out. Anyway, I know that might be a little bit extra just for a single grav, but it's like, you know, Goats meta was literally just a year ago, and it's like that was Goats 101. Trance or not, pick a target in the grav, hit it, throw it, throw a pin at it, speed into it. That's the idea. Yeah. Anyway, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's it actually for. That's it. Yeah, 6-0 died, and the last thing is last fight discipline. Once again, Dark Griffin dies early. I'm gonna go. Shatter comes in here. Yeah, and at this point it's just a rough cleanup, but yeah. Last fight discipline wise, functionally. Oh yeah, so actually it's our cap, so all right, it's 85%. And the heroes that you've got, assume everyone's just gonna come back eventually. You've got these 6 heroes. Who do you pick to basically touch the point and force overtime? And
You
why?
normally you pick Lucio because he has the fastest consistent speed.
Lucio, exactly. Lucio's fast, he's hard to hit, and he has the highest chance of getting out. So you want this guy to last touch. Now, obviously the answer, like if I asked who do you not want to last touch, obviously the answer is anybody, but other people that can last touch with mobility, these 2 come to mind. I mean, like Ryan too, but these 2 come to mind. And what's going to wind up happening is 6-0 is going to Wraith on the point, and he's going to die right here. Because 6-0, like, or Moira using her fade, that's like, or offensively to get somewhere as opposed to get away from somewhere, that's a full commit. That's Winston, jumping into, the frying pan or out of the frying pan. Like that's basically having to have your Moira dive in. So you're trading your Moira's life just to force OT, puts you down your main heals, and basically makes trying to retake this point near impossible. Anyway, so again, last example of last touch discipline. You say, okay, last touch. Lucio, go. Yeah, Lucio, just go. So everyone pushes here. Lucio can set up some rollout from anywhere. He could be like, okay, so I'm just going to do my thing. And he's going to go boink, boink, yoink right there and do whatever he wants. He could bounce off this wall and come back to his team. Ask Brazel. He knows. Like, you can get in, touch the point, get out. And the team can force the fight right here-ish. And it can be a full-on brawl, overtime or not. You don't have to worry about rushing the point. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's see.
Yeah. Whoever your Lucio player is, because I have been told that you guys don't really have a Lucio player, and it just kind of gets thrown onto one of the.
Yeah,
whoever it is, once you do it, once eventually you guys should get a Lucio specialist, because there's a lot of things that Lucio can get mastered on, and just like anybody can just pick up a Lucio and amp heals, but for a Lucio specialist who understands wall riding and can still aim and shoot while wall riding gives you guys' team such a better edge, and it helps so much with these last touch fights, because doesn't matter what map, doesn't matter where it is, a Lucio can get to anywhere in the map under 20 seconds. When for other heroes, like Tracer comes to mind probably, it would probably be more, like, let's just take as an example for right now, spawn to spawn Oasis. Lucios can do that in 7 seconds. It would probably take a Tracer more 10 to 15. Just so having a Lucio who understands wall riding to a point that it just is not even something they think about, and they can do it without sleeping for 48 hours, it gives your team such a better advantage. Sure, hopefully that Lucio isn't Reddit Lucio tired throwing your game, but yeah, it's always good to have someone who you know for a fact can touch.
All right. So there you
that's
go.
all I have to say. Sorry, I went on a little rant.
No,
Nope,
you're fine.
it's all
I
good.
enjoy it.
This VOD has just more or less been me on a 2.5-hour rant. Anyway, but that aside, so I have one last little thing. That's basically for Why Zombies Why, or whoever wind up being your actual Lucio player. I'm just wanting to ask him why he was in a certain place when he was. But if he's not here, it's okay. So I'll just bring it up. Functionally, at this point,
Zombies
you guys
here.
He's here?
Yeah, zombies here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I'm assuming you heard what we talked about earlier about last touch and all that. So basically, this is the last little thing. It was at 8 minutes exactly. Okay. So I'm jumping to second point, which is on University. And basically this fight has been going your guys' way thus far. But there's gonna be a critical mistake here that I think I think we could do something differently about this. So what's happening right now is Rar just popped his high noon, and I don't think he got anyone with it. I'll play it out. But Rar is setting up to do a flank high noon right here. And from what I can understand, I think Zombie spots that and he's looking to support him or speed him. Now, speed at high noons are powerful and effective, especially when the meta used to be precisely something of this comp. Being able to speed high noon your McCree past something like a Maywall or into a choke or just keep pressuring the enemy team is really useful. But it's also just tricky to understand and like how to make it useful, and it requires more things than just the speed. It requires shields and bubbles and stuff like that so that your McCree doesn't get slept or poked out or anything. So a speed high noon is kind of understandable, but basically he can't really go anywhere right here. Like whatever LOS he's got is whatever he's got. No amount of speed is going to change that. That being said, you committing to helping him speed the high noon causes something else different to happen. And I want you to tell me where you think you could have been differently here. So now you're with your team. Dark Griffin goes down. Okay. So what do you think you could have done differently there? What do you think, where do you think you should have been as opposed to say with the McCree about 10 seconds ago?
I should have been with the Reinhardt.
All right. Because what happened to the Reinhardt?
He just gets focused down. He can't back up.
I got
Exactly.
fucking melted.
Yep.
Oh wait, I
So
clicked the efforts.
unfortunate pin on Griffin aside. Basically, at this point, it's still kind of a scramble, and I'll say this: as long as Roar is alive, I think you guys have a chance in any team fight. Like you guys have your tanks alive, Roar is alive. You've got more than enough damage to fucking knock anyone on their ass. So at this point, Scarecrow is anti. There are no supports with him. He needs to back the fuck up. Even if Derpy's full health, this Ryan is nanoed. He ain't even need his shield anymore. He's dropping that shit on the ground and he's walking on the point. I don't need it. Dead weight. He just wants to
no,
walk
I'm pretty
right up to Scarecrow and smack him. So Scarecrow, I think, uses his shatter because
Yeah,
he
dude.
thinks that Otel's gonna go full aggro. And he's also, you're trying to zone him out because you know that you're vulnerable and you don't want him to get close.
Yeah, but I got beaten that Run Mind games.
Yep. So you guys trade shatters, funnily enough. I suppose you're thinking the same thing, but because Zombie is a few seconds late here, even though you do help get the kill on me, Ryan can't get out. And Ryan not being able to step onto the point kills the team's ability to contest. And also like being like if you were there, like I'm assuming that Ryan and Zarya would have been here by now or something like that, and you guys could have backed off and recontested easily. Like your teammates are coming back right now. We'd only get like 10% before it's basically the next team fight. And you know, with your guys's, let's see, you would be coming up on Grav. You would have beat, so you could beat aggressively if you'd ult tracked accurately or not, but like you would have Grav so you can make a play with the pin. Instead, it doesn't work out like that. Anyway, so that's just something to think about as Lucio. Like, where can I get my value from? Like, I know you went to go support your McCree, but oftentimes, like you need to be with your Ryan to help him out of situations precisely like that. You're not always there when the fight is going good. You're there when it goes south. He's anti, the other Ryan's nanoed, something like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
And if you
as to quote what's up?
I was gonna say if you save me, I'll buy you.
If I say what?
I said if he saves me, I'll buy him a sundae.
What a man. So yeah, like my dad's a pilot, and he flies a lot of different kinds of planes. Well, not currently, considering people are dying left and right. But before, he was flying people, or he was flying lots of people, and he has a saying about. Hold on, let me just noise. Anyway, so he has a saying about what it means to be training and to be a professional pilot. Like, because yeah, being a private pilot is a lucrative job, but at the same time, flying a plane like professionally is not for the times when the plane is working. My dad gets all that training and he gets paid the money that he does for when shit goes south, when an engine fails, when a loose bolt causes part of the wing to rip off, when he flies some piece of trash junker plane that's notorious for falling apart and crashing, and he saves everyone because he crashes it properly and controlledly. That's the idea. Kind of, Lucio, in this sense, like being the team Lucio, being at the center of like everyone, getting everyone your aura, is kind of like being the pilot. You're not
Being
there
a
when
good
things are going good.
Lucio.
Yeah, you're not there when going good. Like having the skills to go and dive a widow, like you saw on ruins and stuff like that, is useful. But the speed is there for like you see the opportunity to be aggressive. You know how to throttle. You know how to push the plane up to 150%. You're afterburning that shit and you're mowing down some fools. Or you see, fuck, dude. Well, one of our wings is bent. We got to back up here and reset this thing. So you speed everyone out. That's kind of like if that helps like as a picture of what Lucio is trying to do, that's it. He's kind of like he's he's the playmaker in terms of like pushing an opportunity that's good and stopping trouble from when things are bad. Anyway, on that note, that's pretty much everything that I was able to prepare for the VOD. We've been here for 2.5 hours, so I don't think you guys I don't want to make you guys sit through anymore. But that's everything I got. So again, I'll type up a little document for what you guys can think about afterwards, but just to reiterate it verbally here, what you guys can do to immediately get better, get a dedicated Lucio player, right? Start thinking about pathing and grouping up to do that pathing correctly, and figure out ways to set up your DPS on the high ground, especially if Roar's going to be playing a ranger. Find ways to set up Roar on the high ground so that he can poke at people, right? After that, there's the general stuff that everyone talks about, ult combos and ult planning. That's always a thing that people can improve on. But yeah, the sooner you guys start getting it better at ult planning, the more stuff also just radically changes, and you guys can start winning way more fights than you guys think are possible because you just know what the enemy's going to do. Anyway, I'll type that up so you don't have to remember that. Just reiterating it right now. That's all I got, guys. So you're free to go. Anyway.
Thank you, Hollow.
Thank you
No
very much.
problem.
Thank you.
Helped a lot.